Robin Williams was a bad Batman.
No, what's worse is that
in the movie Mrs. Doubtfire. Let me finish.
Right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
G'day, mates. Welcome to the Law Boys podcast, coming at you from down under, or as we like to say down here in Oz, up above.
Outside.
I'm joined by my two mates,
Peter O'Donoghue.
and
James Miller.
He's not from Australia.
nah, he's just razzing your chungus. Of course he is.
You got a very impressive Canadian accent, mate.
Thank you.
Blimey, look at this one.
Blimey.
That's how Australian people talk.
So
right?
where are we from? Where are we recording from today?
Australian
Tibet.
Outback. Quebec.
Oh no, I said Tibet.
Okay.
Oh, Tibet.
Yeah, we're from Australia originally.
Okay.
We're the Lore Boys podcast. We talk about video games. Today we're going to be talking about Dungeons and Dragons.
That's not a video game,
It's
but
not.
it could be
I mean, there is-
progenitor of all video games.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And there's a lot of Dungeons and Dragons video games. But
That's true.
Yeah.
I have played one.
Yep.
they're mostly shit. But the
that's
Baldur's
it.
Gate series is good.
Oh, no, I played two. Excuse me. I'll get into that later.
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
Oh, no, you're not.
We're backpacking in Tibet,
Yeah.
the Himalayas.
Yeah,
It's,
the monks have a pretty good setup here
Yeah,
for recording.
They have
Astoundingly.
FiOS. It's wide.
Yeah.
That's it. We have our laptops, and Crash Bandicoot just got us a fresh battery, so
Yeah.
we're ready to go and
Yeah.
record this thing.
Wow.
Thanks. Thanks, big bro.
So how you guys doing this week? I guess Peter, you wanna tell us about your week?
I'm Pete O'Donoghue. My week.
The first or
Yeah, no, I'm technically the second. My grandfather was Peter O'Donoghue as well.
excellent.
He died in a helicopter crash in the 80s.
that's
Whoa.
fascinating.
Never met him, but that's a cool story at least.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope to go out in a similar fashion.
What, like-
a helicopter crash in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in the 80s is very important.
What what was he doing? Did he have like a handlebar mustache and an automatic rifle and like?
He wasn't. No.
he was he was just sleeping. He was taking a nap. Somebody abducted him, threw him in a helicopter, crashed
The,
that thing.
the helicopter crashed into him. He
Yeah.
wasn't even in that.
Yeah, exactly. You're walking down the
Yeah.
street. One casualty, helicopter fell out of the sky. No, he was. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. I'd have to ask my dad. But it was in like northern BC.
Oh man.
And the engine froze because it was the 80s. The thing that keeps things defrosted
Antifreeze.
wasn't working in a helicopter engine.
Yeah.
And the engine froze and it crashed in the forest.
Wow.
That sucks. Yeah. So much of a joke about it. That's not a good way to go.
Think
I mean,
about
my dad jokes about it. It was his dad.
Yeah.
I think I get to.
Okay.
Think about yeah, and I know Peter, so I get to joke about it too.
Exactly. And if you're listening to this, you can make fun of my dead grandfather if you'd like.
Very good. Yeah.
Tweet at me some mean
Tweet
things.
at Peter your best dead grandfather
Yeah.
jokes, please.
What did you do?
Just spilled my beer all over my lap. And I hit the mic.
Oh, it's okay. I'll keep talking while you clean that up.
I'm just gonna live with it. I made my bed.
So Ethan, how's your crotch?
It's wet.
Soaked in
For
Japanese
you.
beer.
Yeah. Soaked in Sapporo.
What? Yeah, so my week.
Sorry to cut off your story about your dead grandfather, Peter.
That's okay.
With my clumsiness.
Yeah. You know what? It's a good way to lighten the mood.
Next time somebody tells me about a dead relative, I'll pour a beer into my lap. It'll all be good. Oh no, I'm such a klutz, lol.
When you do that, eye contact is very
That's
important.
That-
Just straight pouring it into my crotch. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if it was recent.
Yeah.
We just pulled the plug on my grandma, and then it's
Well, yeah.
Party foul.
Yeah.
the party foul is bringing up your dead relatives. Right?
Yeah.
Asshole. What was I? Right. This week. So I played Banner Saga.
Cool.
That and then because there's a lot of stuff on the internet now about Cuphead, and I think it looks fucking cool.
It does look cool.
I want to play it eventually.
I love Mega Man.
And to steel myself, now I keep doing this, right?
Yeah.
I read an article on PC Gamer
Okay.
where they were like, "Yo, there's a mod for Hollow Knight that changes your melee attack into a ranged attack."
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my god, this would fix all of my problems."
Yeah.
And so I modded it, and I started playing Hollow Knight with the Lightbringer mod.
Yeah.
So now I can enjoy the art, I can enjoy the music, I can enjoy the platforming,
Yeah.
but I don't have to suffer the fucking combat.
Yeah.
So I was playing some Hollow Knight on my Steam Link, just like loafed on my couch with my cat, just like.
That's the point of a Steam Link, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I always think my neighbors, because so where my apartment is, it like goes into this like concrete square, so I can see into my neighbors' rooms,
Nice.
and they can see into mine.
That's hot.
So
It's important.
there's the one guy.
Neighborly love.
There's one guy who's across from me. I don't think he's ever seen anything, but I did have one moment with the girl who's like diagonally from me. We were both going to our curtains wearing nothing but towels.
Oh, yeah?
And then just like grabbed our curtains, stared at each
Made
other
eye
for like
contact.
3 seconds, and just both of us like closed them immediately. Just like, oh, fuck. I don't think she saw me.
He's in a third window. He just pours a beer in his lap.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of my neighbors naked though.
Okay.
Which was weird because I was like, going to close my curtains because of the glare, and like there was like I remember watching this one girl move in all day, like every time I passed my window.
You sound like you're just set up.
Every
like,
time she
all
passed by the
day.
window, Peter was sitting there
Yeah,
watching her.
less and less clothing, less and less clothing.
Yeah.
At one point, yeah, I was just like, oh, new neighbors, clothes, but whatever, because my dresser was right next to my window.
Okay.
And my fish too. So I was like looking out there, moving a bunch of boxes in. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I walk away. A couple hours later, I come back, and then everything's unpacked. Full bedroom setup. Girl in nothing but her underpants just standing in the window. I'm like, okay. Close my blinds.
Yeah, close those blinds.
And I also saw from my kitchen, I can see into another dude's kitchen. And I saw him
Nice.
doing his dishes, like completely
Just
naked
fully
once.
nude?
Completely
It's liberating,
And I
dude.
was like, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
You guys
your
don't do that?
It's your house.
I shower when I do the dishes, so I just bring the dirty dishes with me into the shower.
Into the shower.
Just-
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. One time I was so lazy, I did put my dishes in the washing machine.
Oh, the
What?
washing machine. I was thinking dishwasher. I was like, that's what you're supposed to do with dirty
I put
dishes,
them in the
Peter.
I put them in the washing machine once. To see if it would work.
That's got to be bad for everything involved.
Yeah, that was stupid, but I did it. Nothing got like one plastic plate. I had like a Lion King plate from like 1994.
Oh no, one of the McDonald's collections.
And it like snapped in half in there.
Oh,
It's the
yeah.
only thing
Shit,
that got
dude.
broken.
It can't handle that much
If
heat.
you ever have like 50 to 100 people over and you just can't make pasta fast enough, put it in your washing machine.
Yeah.
Go easy on the soap, but put it in.
The detergent's technically poisonous, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's, I mean, you have to put the detergent though, because the same as like rinsing the starch off at the end.
oh yeah.
Because most modern washing machines don't have a rinse cycle.
Yeah.
so-
Yeah.
No, they got those little cloth things you put in for the starch, right? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Yes, that's it. Didn't do much gaming.
That's-
That's all I did. I definitely did some shit posting on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
And then I'm working on some art as well for Jesse and Team Turn 3,
Oh,
the
cool.
Magic the Gathering YouTube channel.
Yeah, check 'em out.
Because apparently all of like the land colors are trademarked, so they can't use them on whatever the fuck they want to do with them. Like he didn't really explain to me. He's like, we just can't. You just have to do like an interpretation of green plant, red
Yeah.
fire, blue water,
They have
black
some-
skull.
They have symbols where it's,
Exactly, yeah. And so I did a bunch of those as well.
That's cool.
I gotta finish that.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's good. That's gonna be cool.
For those listening at home, Ixalan, the latest Magic expansion, came out last week, I think.
Yeah.
End of last week. It's very good. It's very good and nice. There's dinosaurs now, which is always
Ooh.
very exciting. There's
Yeah,
a lot of
wait.
vampires, some merfolk, which are like murlocs for people who play World of Warcraft.
Weird crossover for vampires and dinosaurs in the same X pack.
It's okay. How Magic the Gathering works, and I will have a Magic the Gathering episode one time. Is there's you are playing what's called a planeswalker, and you can have other planeswalkers help you, but these are wizards so powerful that they can travel between dimensions, basically. So it's like a multiverse or like an infinite parallel universe kind of thing.
Okay.
So there's like every possible universe, and so each expansion or each block, which is 2 expansions, will visit like one particular plane. So the last one was like it was like ancient Egypt almost,
cool.
and there was like the gods were real and they were like very bloodthirsty, and then you find out there's this one character, Nico Bolas, who was behind the whole thing, and he's like a really old planeswalker. But
Cool.
yeah, it's there's some really cool stories to it.
yeah.
What else did I do? I've been watching a lot of Narcos. I watched Planet Earth 2, the BBC documentary, which is on Netflix now, and
I saw some of your shit posts regarding that.
fucking loved it. Yeah. So I did have some Planet Earth shit posts. Gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Oh yeah,
Um,
shit post for life.
Loved it. Like, it's so fucking weird. I was talking to some of my buddies yesterday when I was out for some colleague birthdays, where we were talking about like whatever, like what we've been watching.
Yeah.
It took me like fucking. Well, I started watching Ozark when it came out.
Yeah,
I finished it like I told you when I finished it like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It took me like 4 months to finish a series about crime.
I didn't know.
I crushed planet Earth in 2 days.
Yeah.
I was just like, give it to me. Put nature inside of me right now. Ah!
Planet Earth is the shit. Planet Earth Africa is fucked up, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. You watch a baby elephant die live on camera. It's fucked.
I love
fucked
how
up.
most documentaries though they'll film like a different cheetah after him, and like, and the cheetah got away,
Yeah.
but really it just like got devoured. Well, that's a bad example. Like
Because cheetahs don't, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not a whole lot of
They're
meat.
very
on a-
fast.
Not a whole lot of
Yeah.
meat on a cheetah.
They're almost as fast as Sanic.
Yeah, almost.
I have a
Almost.
friend who swears he could beat a cheetah in a fight, and I really don't believe him.
It's got a lot of teeth and claws.
There's a lot of teeth and claws, but they're weak and small once you close with them. They're gonna hurt you bad, but apparently if you just like punch both their eyes out with your thumbs, then you're fine.
Oh yeah, all you
gotta
gotta do.
take the first hit. You gotta put your left hand out, let them latch onto the left hand, and gouge your right hand.
But
into
there's
his
a
eye.
good chance that you die with that first swipe.
That's what I
They hit
said.
an artery. It's
I don't
just
believe
like,
it's Nambi actually.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
don't believe it, but
I think I don't think it's like it's not like fighting a lion or fighting a tiger.
He's good at Street
But-
Fighter 2 though, so.
But yeah,
That's-
he's got his combos down.
Yeah.
You know, he's gonna poke guard. He's gonna be fine.
Maybe that's a strategy for most things. It's just like, listen, man, you don't need to get good at Street Fighter. All you need to do, let him get that first hit, then you gouge his
his
fucking
eyes
eyes
out.
out.
It's
Yeah, I mean that seems like a good strategy for anything. Just poke its eyes out, man.
Yeah.
And then otherwise, I made more stupid man purchases and bought an Apple Watch yesterday from a friend of
You
mine.
did.
Because I remember when it came out, I was like, Apple Watch so stupid. My phone's right here in my pocket.
Yeah.
Why would anybody need one?
Yeah.
And then my buddy's just like, yeah, I'm getting the new one. So like last year's Apple Watch, I'm selling for $250. I was like, I need it. Give it to me.
Yeah, give me.
I already had a fucking smartwatch.
How much?
I am a
normally?
consumer whore.
This one is like $350 now, so I saved $100.
Yeah.
And he's cool. He's let me pay it in 2 payments, so I do 125, 125.
That's
Randy,
nice.
he's a photographer. So if you guys, Randy Captura, I believe.
Fucking Bo Bandy.
Thank you, Randy Bobandy.
Yeah.
If you need wedding photos taken, maybe hit a boy up. Hit a boy with an Apple Watch up. Maybe he's a nice dude. Maybe whatever. I know he's
Maybe.
got a fat cat.
Go get married just so you can give our friend
Just so
Randy
you can, just so
some
you can-
business. Yeah.
Friend of the show. Exactly.
Yep.
And that's it. More dumb purchases and very few games. I probably only spent about 3 hours playing video games all week.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
James, how about you?
I had a good week. I bought a new VR game. I bought the Batman game, and I played through the whole thing.
Is it good?
I'm not a huge superhero buff. I think we talked about this
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
I don't like to buy into a lot of the movies that come out every 8 months with the nostalgia that just like kind of triggers people into paying for a $20 movie ticket over and over again. But
Tell us how you really feel.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it was a good game. There's a lot of moments. I kind of want both of you to try it at a certain points. I don't want to ruin it for you, but there's some really good moments in
Okay,
it
cool.
where you mess with the Joker, and
You would have to, yeah.
in VR they can do some really trippy things.
Oh yeah.
So it messes with your perspective and stuff. I don't want to ruin it, but there's some really good moments. It was $25, and it was worth $25, nothing more, nothing less.
Okay, that's fine.
And it was a good like 3-hour experience. Played it in like one go, and it was a lot of fun. The thing is, coming off the tails of Superhot, which has so much action and all this, it felt slow to me.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Most people who I know who played it, it was their first VR game. And
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot of different. It's not just one gameplay dynamic, right? Like there's puzzles, there's talking parts,
That's cool.
there's a little bit of combat, but not really combat. Like you have to like blow up a fire extinguisher. But
Do we know if it's not by the same people that made the Arkham games, is it?
I
Eidos or whatever?
doubt it.
It's no, Rocksteady makes those.
Rocksteady makes it.
Okay, yeah, I feel like Sony had to have a hand in it because like they just want to promote their
Yeah, no,
VR,
for sure.
right?
Yeah.
It was a really good experience though, and you can play through it a second time, and there's like 30 hidden puzzles and stuff. So
Oh yeah. Wow.
I think it was a lot of fun. I'd recommend it if you like Batman, you'll love it. But like whenever you get those little nostalgia things where you're like, oh, and then he pulled out the Batarang, and I'm like, okay, cool. it makes people who love the superhero really excited.
What superhero hurts you?
I was gonna say, funnily enough, there's a quote that I heard on a different podcast, a better podcast, which is from Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
Where he's like in a restaurant while they're filming Batman Forever or whatever,
Yeah.
or whichever one he's in.
I think it was Forever.
And Jim Carrey comes up to him, and Tommy Lee Jones hates Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah.
And then apparently the only thing he said to Jim Carrey in this restaurant when he came up was like, "I cannot sanction your buffoonery." and you're reminding me right now of Tommy Lee Jones,
Yeah.
where you're just like, "I cannot sanction your buffoonery."
Your batarangery.
Superheroes. You just got no patience for that shit.
I think superheroes used to be cool, like back when you had to buy them in a book and you had to like not everyone loved them, and like I don't think you should just hate them because everyone loves them, but now it's
Saturated.
It's saturated. It is an assembly line. Like it's coming out every 8 months, and it's the same thing, and it's not really a new story. It's just
No, it never is.
It's just
It's,
Yeah,
it's just gratifying action. It's
yeah,
masturbation.
I can
Yeah.
look
But
at
I
it.
love masturbation.
Like I can watch one, and I don't.
Yeah.
I would never watch one alone. If I'm with people, I can get into
Yeah.
it. But it's on my.
My big gripe with Marvel and DC superheroes is you always, 100% of the time know how it's going to end. The good guys win. Even the ones where it's like, oh, the good guys turn into bad guys. And
Yeah.
I have this one comic that was great. It's called Death in the Family, and the Joker kidnaps Bruce Wayne's son. He captures the new Batman that he's training. He captures like everyone that Bruce Wayne knows, and then in the end he captures the Batman himself, and he ties them all up and he cuts their faces off and then like sews their faces back on, because that's what happened to him to escape from a mental asylum. The Joker had to cut off his own face, but because he's crazy, he just like stretched it back on over his face. So he looks like super creepy. And then in the end, it's like, oh, but it was all just a hallucination caused by this. I was like, fuck, you guys had it. You guys had a real fucking story with real fucking consequences.
Yeah.
You're like, it was all a dream. And I was like, fuck you guys. Like, that's my big gripe with every major.
There's no stakes.
With superhero comics. I love comics, but I've strayed very far away from Marvel and DC, barring Deadpool, but because it's really comic. It's funny,
Yeah.
you know. So I read it for the laughs more than the action or
That's fair.
drama story. You know.
That's fair. Side note: Cade 6 from Destiny 2 is pretty much Deadpool. Like if you listen to his jokes and
Yeah.
his intonation, it's pretty much the same.
They just let Nathan Fillion play himself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, guys.
Yeah.
Yes, we all miss Firefly, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
You might want to make him play a character one day, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the game. And also, so this week or this month on PS Plus, there's 3 games that I'm interested in that are free. So there is Amnesia: The Collection, which is cool. Yeah, it's a spooky game.
Yes.
Ethan and I played through the first one in one sitting, and both had nightmares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've mentioned that I have legitimate PTSD from that game,
Yeah.
where that water part still makes me panic,
Yep, exactly.
despite having beat it.
Yeah.
Metal Gear 5 is also, I think it's 5. Are you a fan of Pain?
Fan of Pain is 5. Yeah.
Yeah, and that one's free. I'm not super interested, but I'll probably play it. It was free.
I don't personally like it. I don't know. There's not an ending because Konami like cut it apart or whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry not to cut you off, but I'll
No,
like,
go
just
for
to
it, go
temper
for it.
your expectations for
Yeah.
fucking
No, go for it.
MGS5. There's no ending.
Yeah.
It is open world for no reason. So you always just have to walk to your stealth mission,
Yeah.
or horse to your stealth mission,
Yeah.
or ride your motorbike mech to your stealth mission. It's fucking weird as well. Kiefer Sutherland's quite a good voice actor. He plays Big Boss, but
does he?
he has like 4 lines of dialogue. Everything
It's
else is
expensive.
yeah, well, whatever, exactly. And also, there is no ending. To get to the ending, you are forced to replay certain missions,
Yeah.
chosen seemingly at random.
Okay.
You have to beat them. Then you unlock some actual story with like Quiet and the other side characters and shit. And then you finally get to the ending, and then there's like the big reveal, but there's a bunch of unresolved plot threads. Like apparently there's an entire chapter that Konami just cut out when they were fucking Kojima.
Oh, yeah.
And we're just like, sorry buddy, cut that out. It's too
Yeah.
expensive, and they just threw it away. So now the game does not end. It
Yeah.
just cuts to credits. There's like some sort of wacky reveal, and then it's credits and it's over.
Oh, yeah?
I played.
It's fun, but
Yeah, I
like,
played for maybe 30 minutes, and like 25 minutes those were cutscenes.
Yeah, that sounds
yeah.
about right.
Yeah, and of the 5 minutes I played, I like raided one town to get something, but then I didn't do it sneaky because I just fucked up. And as I was leaving the town, I could see that now every time I go back to this town, they're going to be on the lookout for me. And as a person who doesn't have a lot of order in their life, I like a lot of order in my video games.
Yeah.
And to me, like, that feels so bad. Just like leave cities behind that are always going to be looking out for me. And as a person who likes like to be a completionist in certain games and
Yeah.
to have order within my games, it rubbed me the wrong way. I just felt like, oh, I'm just like, this whole experience feels like
You're
I'm
in
fucking
other
things
towns
up.
and you're sneaking around. You can only think about that first town.
Yeah,
You're like, oh,
yeah. It's like
I did them so wrong.
Yeah.
There's like because I like stealth games a lot, obviously.
Yeah.
It's neat. There's some cool stealth mechanics. If you sneak up behind a guy and point your gun at him, you can just be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
get on the fucking ground," which is really cool. Trank darts don't last forever,
Yeah.
which is something I would have loved in Dishonored or in like Deus Ex. Like if
Yeah.
you knock somebody out, they eventually get back up, which is really really cool.
But as far as realism is concerned, if you have a chemical powerful enough to knock someone out, odds are
Immediately.
it's not going to knock them out for 2 minutes. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
It's going to take longer than that to get through the system, but
it's a pretty nonsensical game too. I know the main villain
oh, they all
is
are. It's wild.
at some point there's a 25-minute conversation in a Jeep that you just have to watch, in which Big Boss never says a thing. He just sits there and listens,
Oh, man.
and then at some point the main bad guy is just like, blah, 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 and then stops the Jeep, gets out, walks away, turns around and points at him. He's just like, "Remember the Alamo," and then leaves. And I was like, that just seems like a Japanese guy writing a script was just like, insert an American sounding line.
yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, and apart from that, the game that I was most interested in was a PSVR game went free this month.
Woo!
It rigs. Like I have the full game now.
Oh, do you?
So, yeah, this is you're a mech suit and you
Playing
you can play football,
Rugby,
you
yeah.
can play kill your friends, you can play get the upgrades and jump through the hoop. And they have like a full league setup. So it's like a normal sports game where you have like weeks
Oh,
leading up
okay.
to
You play through the
playoffs kind of
season
thing.
kind of thing?
Yeah, and there's like commentators, and it's actually like really well put together, right? It's made by Sony, so like they know how to do games.
They know how to throw enough money at a game that it'll be decent no matter what.
Exactly, and it's really good. It's got the multiplayer. It's got trials if you just want to like test your own ability. Which then you have like 30 different rigs to unlock.
Nice.
Cool.
And you earn currency by playing league games. You earn fame, which unlocks like cosmetic stuff. I tried the multiplayer. I waited for 1 minute and I didn't get a match. And I was like, fuck it, everything's broken.
So good. Literally unplayable.
Exactly.
It's just a first world problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, so since it did go free to play, anyone who has a headset can play it now.
Oh, good.
But I'm not sure how populated the servers are. I know there's a semi-active subreddit that you can hop into games with.
Yeah.
so.
Cool.
Somebody
So
hit
it-
up Jamie. He needs friends to play with.
I played.
Yeah.
I played the demo when we did our.
Yeah.
We popped our VR.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't try
Yeah.
it.
No, it's
It's,
really good.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I turned off like I found out that I have a strong VR stomach, so I turned off all the comfort settings. So, like when I die, I get like ejected like 30 feet into
Oh
the
yeah,
air.
that's so cool.
Oh,
yeah, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
Is it awesome?
It's pretty good. I'm like used to it now. I've like acclimated myself, but
Yeah.
it's this is a game that I didn't like that much from the demo, but the more I play, the more I'm enjoying it.
Okay.
Because
Cool.
I'm understanding the
That's a
nuance.
good game in my
Yeah.
opinion. Yeah.
Yeah,
Where you
exactly.
pick it up and you're like, you have to learn. You know. Like,
Yeah.
you
well,
learn
it's like
to
the
love
point
it.
of a video game is
Yeah,
to
yeah,
like
yeah.
get good at it. Yeah.
Not
So
just
the-
like you pick it up and
yeah.
you're like, I immediately know everything there is to
For
know.
the people at home, there's 3 modes. So you're in a mech suit, right? You can choose your gun hands. So you can have like 2 beams, you can have 2 snipers, you can have 2 whatever, right? And there's like 4 different classes. Have different jumping abilities, different type of things, right? You have 3 modes that you can be in while you're active. The first is run mode, which is your square. The second is repair mode in your triangle, and then the circle is attack mode, which increases your damage output, but you can attack in all 3 modes.
Cool.
So you're usually encouraged to stay and run, and then whenever you get into an encounter, switch between attack and heal. Attack
How
and
quick?
Heal.
How quick is the switch?
As fast as you want it to be.
Oh.
But the heal, I think it takes a second before it
It actually starts
Yeah.
repairing.
That
yeah.
well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, and super good game, man. Like I honestly I played probably 6 hours this week.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, it's really immersive, and the league play feels really good. You're always getting new things, and honestly, I have such great things to say about it. If you have a VR headset, like play the game. It's good.
That's a good.
It's
Did you play more Destiny? You were playing Destiny when I walked in, weren't you?
Oh, so yeah, I got my hunter to level 20. So I got all my hunter gear that I saved up, put it on my hunter. So now I have a maxed out warlock, a maxed out hunter that has a little way to go on gear, but I'm at 298 for my warlock, so I'm getting to the point where gear's like slow, but I'm strong enough I can do anything right now.
Yeah, and you got to do a Titan now
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, and I started my Titan. So my
He
Titan's
was
like,
playing his Titan earlier when I got here.
Yeah. So honestly, like, the grind doesn't feel like a grind to me. It's
Yeah.
just so nice to. I find I've played enough of it now that it's second nature that I can just disconnect and play through the game.
Yeah.
And really, really enjoy
It's
it.
nice
Yeah.
to switch characters too and
Yeah.
like level up each one. 'cause
Yeah, I tried the shield ability that
Yeah.
Ethan talked
That
about a while
I
ago.
bitched about.
It's a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun in PvE. Than
Yeah.
It's you just go Captain America. I think that's a superhero, and
Yeah.
you just like
Yeah.
smash into things and they disintegrate.
It's actually my favorite superhero. Speaking of, since we're on the subject, like I'm a big whore for those movies.
Okay.
The movies, they're the best Marvel movies for sure.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
but I feel you on the whole like not being able to watch them because like I remember the last time I went to the theater I saw Wonder Woman and I remember walking out of that and I was like, man, that movie's fucking great. Man, that was so much fun. If somebody asked me to watch it again, I'd still probably be like, no.
Yeah.
Like the only Marvel movies I've seen twice, I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy twice.
Yeah.
I've seen Winter Soldier twice because Winter Soldier is a genuinely good film
It is,
that
yeah.
happens to have Captain America
Yeah.
in it.
Exactly.
All the other Marvel films, I cannot watch more than once because once you watch it, because you realize there's no stakes.
Yeah.
None of these people can die.
Yeah.
They can't. They can probably not even get hurt,
No. Yeah.
right? Because they have to carry out these movies for the forever until
Yeah.
the actors die,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
like that's when it's over.
I mean, in the third Captain America: Civil War, Warhawk did get hurt.
War Machine.
War Machine.
He
sorry,
did get hurt, yeah.
He got pretty seriously hurt, but I thought they were actually going to kill him off, and that was another moment where I was like, oh yes, you have a moment to do something like really real and have like real character growth. And then they're like, no, he's just crippled, and I'm like, oh, well, I guess Tony Stark's just going to make him a suit that he can walk around, and he's going to be
Yeah.
absolutely fine.
Make
come the
robot
next movie.
pants to
Yeah.
hold them up now.
Exactly. So it just cheapens the whole thing when there's no stakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Still good movies though. I would say the Captain America movies are the best of
Yeah.
them.
It's fine.
We're
No,
not
I
telling
mean-
you have to like them.
I know.
Such a
Sit
grump.
in my house and you talk about superheroes.
Yeah, get out of here! I'm trying to talk about Destiny, damn it!
That was my week though. Played a lot of games, a lot of VR. Batman, buy it if you like Batman. Riggs, download it because it's free.
And awesome,
Oh, I also
apparently.
played a bit of Transistor.
Oh, Transistor's
Yeah.
so
Oh, that's
fucking
such a
good,
good
dude.
game.
Yeah, I loved it. The music was really good. I got past the first boss, Sybil, I think it is. It's
Oh,
called.
yeah,
At
the Opera House there?
actress.
Yeah. And she just keeps coming back like 4 times. I like the game. I'm always enthusiastic about picking it up. Never enthusiastic about finishing it. This is the 3rd time I've started it, and I think I'll maybe get to it.
That's
but
fair.
It's on my.
It's one of my favorite games.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore it.
I
Yeah.
played through it in I think 3 nights, like just after work. I have
Yeah.
like 2 hours to play, so
Yeah.
I played through it in like 6 hours, and then I beat all the challenges.
I never did that. I
I'm
was
on New Game
I
Plus.
never get good enough to finish all
The-
the challenges.
the-
I finished a lot of them. but-
Yeah, the only hard ones I found is when you're facing like another, because you can face like a ghost version of yourself basically that can
Yeah.
also, because like you have the power to stop time, plan all your moves.
Yeah.
And
Every
it's
3 seconds.
that's
pretty
it.
much.
The
Yeah.
last boss is Jeff Goldblum. He can do that.
Yeah, the last boss can do that as well. And the last of the challenges is that you go up against yourself, that person stops time, like comes at you. Those are like by far the hardest challenges, I think. And the other ones didn't give me too much trouble. I'm like the most I did one was probably 10 times, but that's like an outlier. All the other ones like 2-3 times I had it for sure.
Yeah. I only did 2 challenges. They're
Yeah.
easy because they're the first.
Yeah.
No, but that game's fucking fantastic. I'm looking really forward to playing their next game.
Yeah.
Pyre, I'll play eventually.
Yeah. Really fantastic game.
Yeah.
So that was my whole week.
Oh, and I did see. Okay, so I'm just gonna give a little call out here. Call out friend of the show, a woman on the internet.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, you guys don't want to play Firewatch? Whatever, no big deal. Good episode anyway. I'm just like, hang on a second. I took your recommendation for Oxenfree, which is currently free on Xbone.
Well, that's why they call it Oxen Free,
and
right?
had a buddy of mine download it. So I'm
yeah.
not playing it because I don't have an Xbox.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I did carry on her recommendation and give it to somebody else.
That's cool.
Paid it forward.
Yeah.
I know she brought that up to me too. That it is not a walking simulator. That there's a lot.
What,
to do.
Firewatch?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's just it's.
So can we get a public apology?
No. We'll play Firewatch one day. Fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
I still don't know what Firewatch is.
You want like I think the concept.
You almost said you walk.
yeah,
Right after defending it as not a walking simulator.
I know. What the concept is?
It's like a simulation.
Yeah.
Is this? No, I'm thinking of a different one. Is this the one where you crash land in the Canadian
Oh,
wilderness?
that's the Long Dark.
Oh, that's the Long Dark. Yeah, no.
Firewatch, so
Actually,
remarkable.
don't-
Jamie doesn't.
I don't know the game, dude. I don't know the game. I've seen like screenshots of it, and Orly actually sent me
Yeah.
a
I'll have to
trailer
message,
to watch to actually give to you, and I haven't watched.
I'll have
it
to
yet.
message our
or sent it to me. Yeah. We're very lazy and we're sorry. This recommendation, it's like she sent a letter to somebody and it's like, did you read it? I don't know if it showed up yet. I gotta check the mail.
I will watch.
She probably would have had a better chance had she just mailed me paper.
Yeah.
It would have got to me fucking faster.
I know you're listening, and I will get the video to him. I promise.
Yeah, I will watch it when he sends it to me.
Yeah. So Ethan, what's your week?
They both had their fingers crossed whenever they said all that stuff. They lied.
Ethan, it's an audio medium.
Fuck you, Ethan.
My week was good, actually. You guys, as you guys know, I'm a scientist. I'm always running experiments.
Mm-hmm.
You guys will be happy to learn that my hermit crab singularity was quite the success. You guys know this, but I guess I'll explain it for the people at home. I ran an experiment to see how many hermit crabs you have to jam into a single atom's worth of space, essentially to form a singularity. The answer is 3. You can compress only 3 hermit crabs down to the space of that a single atom occupies, and it will create a singularity.
It's too bad you didn't figure that out quicker. So many wasted hermit crabs.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, absolutely.
With their soft little butts and their little
Yeah.
arms.
Yeah.
Well, the hard part about that is they're all hermits, so when you try and put them together, there's such a huge force.
They
pushing them
really,
apart.
yeah.
It's more difficult than herding cats.
That was by far the biggest hurdle to overcome. But with some really clever, because I have a couple interns working for me too. We worked hard. We worked long and hard, and I think that for science in general, especially medical science, this is going to be huge.
Yeah.
For everyone.
Well, because now we can send hermit crabs into people, and then they can nestle into bacteria.
Well, they love cholesterol.
and then carry them out.
And they love cholesterol as well. So
I thought you were gonna say into space, and you went so the opposite. Into people. Like, yeah.
That was my favorite part of the Simpsons episode about NASA. It's like everything NASA wants to do is so fucking mundane.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you ruined it. Well, now we'll never know if ants can sort tiny screws in space.
exactly. That's so
I was
good.
like, it's like miracle advances in the field of watchmaking and watch repair.
Yeah. That's so good. Careful, they're ruffled.
Yeah, the chips.
Homer opens a bag of
Look what I
chips.
smuggled on board. All right, Simpson. If I have to die, I'm taking you to hell with me.
Very good episode. For anyone who doesn't know what The Simpsons is, go out and give it a look.
If you're waking up from a coma right now,
Yeah.
which you went into in 1987.
Yeah, I was gonna say for the last 30 years. Besides the hermit crab experiment, I had a lot of fun researching some Dungeons and Dragons lore.
Woo!
Because there's some really cool stories.
So we're talking about all of it, right?
Woo!
No, we're not talking about all
Nestle
of it.
in, kiddos. It's a 7-hour cast. We're doing D&D.
Yeah. So obviously, for everyone at home who doesn't really know what Dungeons and Dragons is, it's basically a loose set of rules that you can take with your friends and you can make up a story in.
Yeah.
Where one person plays the storyteller and all the other people would play one character.
It's like Tinder.
In
It's
that
a
story.
loose set of rules. You get to make up a story about yourself.
just like that. Is that like Grindr?
Yeah, it's a lot like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Which came first? Grinder came first.
Grindr was
Grindr came first.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So there is lore behind this, but this is like pre-made stories because a lot of people it's a big undertaking to create a whole story and a whole world for you and your friends to play in, obviously. So there are preset modules. Beyond that, I mean, the game was first launched in 1974. With Advanced Dungeons and Dragons being the retooled by Gary Gygax, came out in 1977.
One of the best names I've ever heard.
Gary
by the way.
Gygax.
Gary Gygax.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Yeah, and
Pour one out for him on your pants, Ethan.
right, yeah, pour one out. So here we go. This one's cold.
Say no more.
Yeah, so when it first came out, it was very much just like I mentioned, it was just tools for a game, and you made it all up as you go. And then Gary Gygax came out with Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, which added this whole world. And since then, there have been like innumerable like iterations. There's 5 editions as of right now. There was first edition, advanced first edition. There was second edition. There was third edition. There was 3.5 because third edition was very broken and a lot of people didn't like it, so they came out with a hot fix that they named 3.5. 3.5 gave birth to Pathfinder, which is the system that I play in.
Yeah.
Then there was fourth edition, and we're on
Fourth ed is unpopular. I know my friend Sarah hates fourth ed as far as
it gets a lot of hate. I
Yeah.
think it was. I mean, at the time, it was the most popular of the Dungeons and Dragons for sure.
Yeah.
People had a lot of gripes with it. It was a little combat heavy, but like I play Pathfinder, which can get like there's a lot of numbers in Pathfinder. There's a lot of details. There's a lot of rules, like more so than Dungeons and Dragons. But like a lot of people fail to realize that you can ignore them if you want. Like if it suits your game goes at the pace that the storyteller wants it to go at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of people they're like, oh, we kept getting bogged down in combat, and it's just like, well, it's on you guys to like make combat quicker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But by all accounts, 5th edition is a great system. I have played 4th edition, and I thought it was fine, but I come from Pathfinder, so it's very similar.
I'm rolling a 5th ed character. I'm in the process of it.
Yeah.
I have a PDF. So there's another dude I work with, and then like Tall Peter and a couple other guys.
Oh, cool.
Who are in a campaign, and like since we do this, I don't always have the time to go play with them. So they were just like, I'll be a bard, just so like my excuse of being a wandering minstrel makes more sense.
Yeah.
And so this one of my experiences with D&D. Sorry, I guess I'll just get into it before you even ask what our experiences are. I've not actually played.
Okay.
I have, for some reason, like known a lot of people who play D&D, and they always try and get me to start.
Yeah.
So I have a character that I've had for a long time as a concept.
Okay.
And everybody's always like, no, it's great. It's just like video games, except you can do anything you want. And I was like, fine. I'm playing a human race character stat-wise.
Yeah.
But my character is 2 dwarves and a long coat.
Nice.
And people are just like, no, you can't do that. I'm like, you tell me I can do anything except be 2 dwarves and a coat and use a human character sheet? Fuck you.
No, yeah.
Like, whatever.
That's like, in my opinion, that's bad DMing.
Exactly.
If I was running that game, I would absolutely let you do that. As long as like the stats don't change, then I don't care.
No. Well, for simplicity's sake, because of human height, I use human race.
But I think that makes
stats.
I think that makes great. Like there's so much potential for good storytelling.
And
there,
I want to get into
I mean?
it, you know.
Yeah.
Like my trait is, if I roll to dodge, I have to roll a second part to not break in half at the waist.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Which is like the other thing.
And I love that because like as a storyteller, like it's cool because it presents unique opportunities.
Yeah.
But from your perspective, you could be like, as I level up, you get more adept at it, you know, and maybe you gain spells that let you, you know, like hold together better or whatever, you know what I mean?
I wanted to get really into it as well, like refer to myself as we by accident every once in a while.
Yeah, that's it.
Like I don't agree with this at all. Like 2 dwarves who are thinly disguised as a human being, who aren't even good at it.
Yeah.
It's just like I was like, if you're gonna tell me I can do anything, like it's Peter O'Donohue, man. I'm gonna push the envelope
that's it.
of absurdity. I love that shit. Come on.
That's fair. That's sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
James.
my experience with it is I did join. Ethan was my DM for a little while, for about a month.
Yeah.
I ended up dropping out because it was on a weeknight back when I was trying to get fit, so it was like not good with my schedule. But
thank God you gave that up. Now you can play D&D.
Yeah, exactly.
Play D&D in VR.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm off that that trajectory.
Off the fitness train.
Yeah, exactly.
Just come to the Y with me.
Yeah.
I used to go frequently.
Yeah, I do go to the gym a couple times a week, but anyways, it's not about that. This is so D&D. I played Pathfinder in 2 different campaigns. I had a cleric, and I also in a cleric in Ethan's campaign, and then a mutual friend, Rob.
You ran a ranger.
A ranger, yeah. That I had a crossbow that I could shoot twice a turn, and it felt
cool.
It felt really good. He was like, it was good DPS.
Yeah.
There was a lot of story. He had a deep campaign. I just wasn't. I thought I was ready for D&D. I wasn't ready for D&D.
Yeah. Also, with Rob's campaign, it fell apart right after you joined because 2 other people quit, and it was just the hardest thing about Dungeons and Dragons is organizing 4 people to sit around for any length of time.
The rest of my experience, just while we're here, is also I listened to the Adventure Zone podcast for a long time, which is a lot of D&D. It's the McElroy.
The McElroys.
Yeah, the McElroys. So they're much more popular than we are, but
Famous podcasters, yeah.
yeah, they're great, and they're funny. It's like the whole family, like the dad.
Oh,
and the
Yeah,
brothers.
they play with their dad, and it's just so charming.
Oh, it is
He's
good.
definitely my favorite person on the podcast because
Yeah.
he's like, it's like playing with your dad. You know what I mean? He doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, the
Yeah.
rules are like confusing, and like
He's
never
always
played
like
games.
Ring of Truth.
Yeah, that's
to
our
get
Zone of
people to
Truth,
tell
yeah.
it. Zone of Truth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to
to get-
is his branded spell. You know?
yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Yeah, so he's the reason I picked a cleric. Actually,
Yeah, yeah.
because he's so funny. And
Yeah.
being a dad playing with the boys.
Yeah, that's it.
And yeah, I also listen to a couple other podcasts where they have a D&D segment at the end, or also a futurized D&D. I forget the name of it. It's like there's guns. It's
Shadowrun?
Shadowrun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Good way to be on my level. I had no idea.
No problem.
Yeah.
If you ever
I
wanna-
got you.
If you ever want to play a game where you need 30 dice, that's the game for you.
Okay.
I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah.
Most of the D&D that I do listen to, apart from the Adventure Zone, which is like semi-legit, is usually in front of a live audience, and they just kind of use the rules as it is entertaining,
Oh,
more
okay,
than
well,
actually
that's
stay
fair.
true.
That's how you should play, in
Yeah.
my humble opinion.
You
Yeah.
should probably play D&D to have fucking fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And not to like
Yeah.
follow rules.
But
Yeah.
some people like rules. To be fair, like some people really like the system, and you know some people really like min maxing their damage, which is building your character in the perfect way that exploits
build,
all the
yeah. rules,
so you deal like 10 times more damage than everyone else in the party. Some people like that, and more power to them. It's not the way that I play, and it's not the way that I DM by any stretch of the imagination. So I keep using this term DM, or we keep using this term DM.
What is it? What is it?
Means dungeon master. It's referring to the storyteller in a game of Dungeons and Dragons.
What is the goal of a dungeon master? What did they want to do when they're running the game?
They want to kill all their friends. presumably.
They don't.
Yeah.
They want to certainly instill the fear of death into their friends. They want to.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, they want. They want to
Just
make
unstable.
They want to make sure that there are real consequences to the game. They want to make sure that everyone's having fun. They want to build an interesting and tactile world for the player characters to experience.
Okay.
So as I was saying, or as Jamie mentioned, I guess I did DM a game for a while, and I did run my own world. It was a homebrew setting. Homebrew refers to I made it up basically, and which is what makes the canon of Dungeons and Dragons particular, I guess is the word to use, because there's so many different settings. There's so many third-party publishers who publish stuff for Wizards of the Coast, who publish Dungeons and Dragons, using the same rules system, just their own world. So the canon that we're going to be talking about is specifically Forgotten Realms,
Okay.
which is the characters of Dritz Duerden in all the R.A. Salvatore books.
Sure.
And this is almost certainly the most popular D&D setting. This is the one officially. This is the official Wizard, or one of the official Wizards of the Coast settings.
Yeah.
This is the Forgotten Realms.
Those are the Magic the Gathering
I've
people.
played
too,
a
right?
lot of. Sorry?
Wait, the Wizards of the Coast, that's Magic the
They
Gathering.
make Magic the Gathering as well. Yes.
I played a lot of actually. Now that you reminded me, Forgotten Realms. I played a lot of Forgotten Realms video games.
Yeah, you must have.
Like I played Baldur's Gate. I've played Baldur's Gate 2.
The Baldur's Gate games are great.
Yeah, I've never finished them. They're too hard.
Yeah.
I'm
One and two
or
are
at
very
least
hard.
when I played them, I was too much of a babby PC gamer and couldn't wrap my dumb brain around it.
No,
at all.
that's fair.
I'd love to play them again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I was drinking with someone last night who learned to read through the Baldur's Gate series.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, what's that other game that's similar to Baldur's Gate that just recently came out? Divinity 2.
Divinity 2.
original.
It's supposed to be fucking incredible.
It's like $55 a month.
Yeah, me too. I know.
Yeah.
Same here. There's a dude I work with. Well, I know Orly's playing it,
Yeah.
and then a couple of my buddies are playing it, and there's this guy at work who
Yeah.
walked up to me and some of my colleagues. We're all in the same section.
Yeah.
He walked up to us and he's just like, "Yo, anybody playing Divinity 2 Original Sin?" And we're all of us are just like, "Oh!" And
Yeah.
nobody's playing it. 'cause
Nobody's
Nobody's
playing it,
bought
yeah.
it. It's $50, but it looks awesome.
Yeah.
Everyone in my cubby, there's like 8 people, and I think I'm the only one who doesn't own the game right now. I just see them talking about
You
it.
just had to buy Batman VR, didn't you?
Oh, it's $25 instead of $55. And
Yeah.
It's,
Well, that's
it's a bit more immersive. I'd say.
Yeah. A little aside, it is made by Rocksteady Games, the makers of the Arkham series.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, I googled it.
They had a VR team.
Cool. So you're saying Dungeons and Dragons, a DM?
Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to be talking about specifically the Forgotten Realms universe.
Yeah.
I have I have the creation of the universe. I have how the magic system works, and then I have some interesting events that happened regarding the history of the world, basically.
Okay, so that's our structure.
Yeah.
We got it.
There's also 2 games, Dark Alliance and Dark Alliance 2 Baldur's Gate are 2 console games that I played. They're action RPGs
Oh yeah.
eons ago, and
Yeah.
Dritz is an unlockable character
Oh, is he?
when you beat it on hard.
Everyone's favorite edgelord.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
The,
Like,
the OG edgelord.
yeah, a buddy of mine.
Sword.
Yeah, he's the original Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine read all those books.
Yeah, Dritz Warden, for anyone listening at home, is a character in R.A. Salvatore's. He probably has 30 books out now about this character. Interesting enough character. He's a dark elf, or a drow as they're known. They live in a place called the Underdark, which is literally just like a massive expanse of caverns
And a stupid name.
under the ground. The dark elves worship spiders, and they are a matriarchal society. So women are the leaders of the drow.
You lost me at the spider thing. That's awful.
I mean, their goddess is a like manifests as a spider basically. So they kind of revere them. And there's a lot of giant spiders, and there's a lot of nasty things in the Underdark because it borders on hell. So
Okay.
they get a lot of spillover from devils.
The tieflings.
Yeah. So how D&D works is it's a planar system. So there's different planes of existence. There's the material plane, or the prime material plane, is where most, like 99% of settings takes place. That's where humans live. That's where elves live. That's where everybody lives.
Yeah.
There's the astral sea, which is where the gods live.
The astral what?
The astral sea.
C. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the astral.
Like the letter?
Yes. No.
Exactly.
like the body of water.
Okay.
I thought you said the astral scene, and I was just thinking about a bunch of trendy angels.
Yeah.
Hair flips.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait a
There's
second, guys. This sounds fucking stupid.
there's the elemental chaos, which is where the primordials live. Which
Okay.
we'll get into all of this because it's very interesting.
So,
but
so if I'm gonna play D&D at home, what does it look like from the user's experience? I know we're talking about the lore, but like, what does the user sit down and have?
You're generally sitting across from your heavier, sweatier friend. And that's what the graphics are like.
yeah. It's very much
Real smells.
It depends on the DM.
Yeah.
I've played games, like I play a game online where the DM has like professional maps made, because we play like Paizo is the publisher of Pathfinder, and so we play their adventure paths. They've published maps for the adventure that we're playing right now, which
Cool.
is Rise of the Runelords. And she does it with like dynamic lighting, so the map is there, but it's like if you want to see around a corner, you have to go around the corner kind of thing. I have like a little token. When I DM'd, I had like a little dry erase mat that I would just draw. It was like a chart, or not a chart, but a grid. And I would just draw the maps by hand, and just like, here's the room that you're in. There's a table over here, and I would draw a little circle.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And you have your little token guys that you have your like little figurine.
Yeah, that's it.
One.
The most important thing, the best visuals you're going to get is from the storytelling. So that's why I refer to the dungeon master as a storyteller, because it's very much your job to describe the setting and say you walk into a room and there's a rotten beam hanging from the ceiling, and the northwest wall is collapsed, and there's sunlight drifting in, and you notice a fine dust in the air.
My favorite part about Ethan's DMing is the voices that he gives to all the characters.
That's one of my favorite parts about DMing is just
Like, there's this one little kid, and he kept coming back. It's such a high pitched voice. He was so enthusiastic about it. That's great.
Well, probably the best trait for a player to have if you're going into a game of D&D, the best traits would probably be open, always yes and
It's like improv a lot. Yeah.
And be creative. That's probably the biggest one, is be creative in what you want to do, and like when you're making your character, be creative and then stick to your character.
And you control your reactions. You do not control the direction of the story.
No, that's it. And for the DM, the most important thing is improv, because you will have many moments as a game master where your player says, I want to jump in the river, and you never in a million years plan for them to jump in the river, you know what I mean? Or you will say, like, you'll mention offhand, because you've been fleshing out this world for like a month now, you'll mention offhand, there's a town to the south, and they'll be like, we want to go to that town. Why did you mention it if why did you mention that there's a town there if there's nothing there? But you literally just mentioned it because you drew the map and you felt like it was worthy of note. So you just make it all up on the fly, and it's really rewarding. One of the biggest skills is you design a dungeon. And you expect your players to go there, and they go somewhere else, and all of a sudden the other dungeon that they went to is like that. You're getting the same layout now.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a different motif, but it's gonna be the same layout.
I was gonna say, yeah, you can just recycle the stuff. Like, right, if they leave the one town that was important and go to the other town town just becomes the
That's it.
important.
You're literally
everybody's wearing different hats.
That's it.
Same people.
You're building the set around them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Forgotten Realms and
Let's get into the lore. Now we know how
Wizards
it
of the
works.
Coast. So it all starts with one god, Jesus Christ. No,
Just like real life.
yeah, no, it's Lord Aoki. I don't know, Lord
Steve Aoki.
Yeah, Lord Ao.
One headphone on the ear.
Yeah, that's it. So Lord Aoki created the universe that now holds the world of Toril, which is the planet that Drizzt Do'Urden lives on, the planet that the stories take place and most campaigns take place on. When he originally created it, it wasn't called Toril, but again, we will get into that. So after this creation comes a period of timeless nothingness. This is basically, so like he creates the Big Bang, and now like everything's coalescing kind of thing. So eventually the nothingness that is the void coalesces into beautiful twin goddesses who are polar opposites of each other.
Oh.
So now we have good and evil in the universe.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah.
They are.
We've got the goth girl and her sister, the cheerleader.
Yeah. Saloon is the cheerleader, and Shar is the goth girl.
Okay.
Well, wait. Are we saying goth girls are bad or cheerleaders are bad?
Tomato potato. Are you saying?
Why don't you decide?
Well, you just gave the names.
Yeah,
and
but
assumingly one of them is good. and one of them is bad.
But are you saying demons trying to take over the universe for their own twisted means is bad, or are we saying that's good? Like,
Okay.
you know
Yeah,
what I
it
mean?
depends
You
on
want to
your-
get in
It's
that
old argument.
that semantic
Okay.
fishing pot?
All right.
Fishing pot?
Yeah, I don't know. It's not an expression, but I made it once, so that's good. Put it on a piece of corn.
The old fishing.
I meant to say melting pot. I don't know why fishing came to mind.
That was because it's like that old kettle of fish.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
Like, is it actual
That's it. Yeah,
expression?
I mix them. I mix them in the old fishing pot.
Fishing pot. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nobody says that.
Ethan's like down by the river, just like with a strainer, like trying
Yeah.
to get the
Stupid fish. Fucking Christ.
All a net is a strainer.
It's like a colander. Yeah.
Whoa. This is
Whoa,
14.
man.
I'm 14 and this is deep.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got two goddesses, and they start going around building planets, building heavenly bodies. And this actually gives rise to the goddess Shantaea. She's the embodiment of the world Toril. Peter, do you find something funny about the name Shantaea?
I was just so
Peter,
fucking fishing.
get your fishing pod together.
Yeah.
Your fishing pod is a mess right now.
Just ignore me. I'm just gonna try and wheeze quietly
Yeah.
to the side of the mic.
So Toril was lit by the cool radiance of the goddess Saloon. So
Okay.
she's light. I don't know if you want to consider her good, but that's up to you, James.
No,
James the Judger.
Yeah. James the Judgy Miller.
James Judge
How did I
James
get-
Miller.
How did I get here?
You're so judgy.
I was asking you a question. Okay.
You asked the wrong fucking question.
Yeah.
So we have light and dark, but we do not have warmth yet. So Shantaea,
How?
basically the goddesses give off. The one goddess Saloon gives off light,
Yeah.
and the other goddess gives off darkness. So she-
Yeah, but how does light not?
That particle
create
that,
heat.
That like Higgs boson gives the weight. They don't have that particle that gives the
Yeah.
temperature. Yet.
All right. fine.
It's mostly because this is a fantasy world, Peter. So I would appreciate a little bit of suspension of disbelief. Mister, I want to play two dwarves in a trench coat. He's like, how can you have light without heat? Like, it's called phosphorescence, dude. Like,
All right, fine. I'll take that L.
yeah. So we have like an anglerfish, basically, who's the goddess, and she's just giving off light, but it's
Oh,
not,
cool.
it's
Yeah,
not
all right.
generating any heat.
We got Steve Aoki's glow stick.
Yeah, exactly. Saloon is Steve Aoki's glow stick. Shar is Steve Aoki's blacklight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Shantaea begs for warmth so that she might nurture life and living creatures upon her form. Now, one of the goddesses says, wow, what a great idea. One of the goddesses says, that's dumb. Don't ever let that happen. The goddess of light thought it was a good idea. Goddess of Dark said, that's a bad idea. Don't do that.
Sleep. I mean, like when it's dark and warm out, it's horrible. It's a horrible time to sleep.
So the two fought over it, and it turns out when gods do stuff, sometimes they can create other gods. That's how they created Shantae in the first place, was they made a world, and the need for a god was there, so one manifests itself. So they start fighting, and the next gods created were the gods of war, disease, murder, death, etc.
Cheery.
Like the horsemen, basically.
Yeah. Well, not literal horsemen, but essentially, yeah. We got the Grim Reaper. We got Apollo, the god of war.
Yeah.
etc.
Oh, yeah.
So Saloon, the goddess of light, reaches beyond the universe to a plane of fire. Like I said, there's a bunch of different planes. There are the elemental planes. A really cool thing, there's the 4 elemental planes: earth, air, water, fire, and each of them has an aspect, either like positive or negative energy. And for air, the positive energy is lightning, because it just creates, like, you have so much energy in the air,
Like
it creates
static,
lightning.
yeah. Okay, cool.
And the negative one is vacuum.
Yeah.
You know,
Cool.
for water, the positive one is steam. The negative one is ice. It's just
Interesting.
yeah, a cool little
That's
thing.
the magic system, or what?
That's the plane system. Magic actually comes from one goddess, who we'll get into. She's actually one of the more important goddesses. Excuse me for kicking shit over. This place is a mess, James. I can't even move my feet without kicking
I
shit
cleaned
over.
up. You came to my home and poured
beer all over the floor,
on
and then
your
left my empty
floor
cans
and
on the
crotch.
floor. Oh, yeah.
I know when I walked in here, it was like a museum.
Yeah.
We just came and fuck it all up.
Oh,
I
it's
like
okay.
I like to party. What can I
I
say?
had people here till like 5 in the morning yesterday doing the same thing. It's no problem.
Yeah.
It's no problem.
So Saloon
That's
reaches.
all right. We'll have a room for this.
Yeah.
So Saloon goes into the plane of fire and grabs pure flame, and she ignites one of the heavenly bodies. She creates a star, basically,
Okay.
to heat Shantae and all her peoples that she wants to make.
Give her a nice even tan.
Yeah. So
No lines.
No lines.
So Shar gets pissed and says, "I'm gonna snuff out all warmth in the universe, bitch." She's a very catty sister, I feel like.
Seems that way.
So they're fighting, and it's actually going very poorly for Saloon. So she gets desperate. She tears off the divine essence of magic from her body and hurls it at her sister. She's like, "Here, take this, my magic gland," and just throws it at her. So
Picturing like a kidney, like
Yeah.
kidney hitting her face,
Yeah.
like the sound of dropping a ham onto
Yeah.
ceramic tile.
And it actually doesn't just hit her face; it tears right through her and tears out a similar force. And this will basically comprise the enemy.
She had like ghost punches her sister in the face and then punches her sister's ghost clean out of her ghost body.
Exactly.
my God.
Exactly. So the energy that she tore out of herself forms the god Mistral, or the goddess Mistral, who will become the goddess of magic. So from this energy,
I've heard of her before, actually.
From this energy, she creates what's called the weave, which is what all sorcerers will pull magic from. It like permeates the universe. It's from her realm, which is Dwemer.
It's the perfect hairdo at the center of the universe.
Yeah, the perfect weave.
The perfect weave. Long have the gods fought for the perfect weave.
Yeah, so it's just this essence that permeates the universe, and that's where all arcane magic comes from.
Oh.
There's another type of magic which is divine, which is
Arcane is the purple one.
Yeah, exactly. Purple
Yeah.
and blue, sometimes reds, those colors. Whereas divine is always the gold, the
Yeah,
whites.
yeah.
Divine magic is you pray to your god grants you a number of spells per day.
It's like Dark Souls. You got sorcery, you got miracles, you got pyromancy.
Exactly like that, yeah. Except there's just the two, as far as I know. But there's dark and light. So.
Okay, yeah.
So it's arcane and divine?
Arcane and divine, yeah.
Okay.
Those are the two type of casters in Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, well, that's cleric versus
So-
sorcerer, right?
Yeah, sorcerer and wizard, cleric, and a bard is what's called the spontaneous caster. They can pull a bit of both from both. They usually get their spells from their god, though.
I've got a lot to learn before I start
Yeah.
fucking running a...
You see, like this is the beauty.
Bard.
This is the beauty of it. You don't need to know any of this stuff.
Perfect.
You need to know your character. Like, where do I get my spell? Because like when you play it, like
Yeah.
how it works. I think wizards are really cool characters in Dungeons and Dragons. These are people who've studied their entire lives to learn how to use how to manipulate this weave. And basically, it all manifests in words. So at the beginning of the day, they study their spell book. And they memorize these words and they burn it to their head. So every time you rest, you get your spells back. If you rest
Yeah, I
for
knew
8
that.
hours, you
Yeah.
get your spells back. But it's because like thematically, your character like studied his spell book long enough to learn those spells again. And when you use a spell, like all memory of that word is erased from your mind. You can like the wizard doesn't know it anymore. He couldn't possibly cast that spell because he just like he casts it once and that's it. The highest level spell that a player character can cast in Dungeons and Dragons is a 9th level spell. You get your first. You never have more than one 9th level spell, and you get your first 9th level spell at level 17. So
Okay.
it's a little convoluted, but yeah, and that does take a while. Like some campaigns can take like years. You know what I mean? Like you could play for 5 years a single campaign, depending on how fast your DM goes. It's like how often do I give out experience?
Yeah. You had something?
No, I was just trying to bring it back like a while ago. Cause like this is going to be a denser cast, so forgive me. I'm probably gonna ask things.
It's not gonna be. I have like so many cutting points.
Okay.
As soon as we hit like a good time, just
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm just wondering. Like, I just wanted to ask a question. So, Arcane is manipulating the weave.
Yeah.
And Divine is granted by a god.
granted by a god.
Is it still related to the weave?
No.
Okay.
So basically, there's this one. I mean, you can think of it like it's all granted by a god. It's just Mistral kind of freely gives the weave to anybody who knows or is willing to use it.
Yeah.
Whereas for divine casters like clerics, you literally have to pray to your specific god. That's why, and gods are given to certain alignments. So
There's 9, right?
there's 9 alignments. Yeah. There's lawful good, neutral good, chaotic good. So lawful good would be like a police officer. Chaotic good would be like an erratic billionaire who donates a lot of his money to charity.
Okay.
Then there's lawful neutral, which is someone who just like he obeys the law, but he's not necessarily good or evil. There's true neutral, which is in my opinion like the biggest wild card because he can pretty much do anything without stepping on anyone's toes. There's chaotic neutral, which is you're just a crazy person. Then there's lawful evil, which is like devils are typically lawful evil. Like you make a deal with the devil, you know what I mean? They want to sign pacts. They want to steal your soul. And then there's
they want to like swindle you out of your soul.
That's it.
More than kill you and steal it out of your body.
There's neutral evil, which is just like you're kind of evil, and then there's chaotic evil, which is like demons. You're like I want to burn everything and kill everyone in the universe. You know?
Yeah.
For no real
like
reason.
we mentioned it before in the cast, but I have a hard time with all of the chaotic things. Like it seems like you aren't going to be very invested in your character. You're more invested with manipulating the story if you're any of the chaotics, right? Because like if I'm chaotic good, I'll do good things all the time, but then like every once in a while I'll do something random. Like how do you play something that's chaotic when in nature we are not chaotic?
No, that's fair. It's probably, I mean, it's one of the harder ones to play well. I just ripped my jeans. It's one of the harder ones to play.
Having a hard day.
Your pants are just having the worst fucking day.
Having a bad day.
You ripped his knee right up.
Yeah, big hole in my jeans.
You know what?
Pour
Every
one
once
out.
in a while, you just gotta pour a beer on your crotch and rip your knees.
Everyone pour one out. Everyone listening at home, pour one out on your laps for me, from my jeans.
Just all over yourself. It's the pour one out challenge.
Yeah.
New hashtag.
So a chaotic character is probably the hardest one to play well. I agree, because a lot of people do use it as an excuse, like, well, I'm so funny, I'm just gonna do whatever I want.
Yeah.
But if you play like a genuinely psychopathic character, like you're gonna fit under chaotic maybe, and it is a double-edged sword. Because you go to a social functioning, you're like, oh, I want to say this, and the DM has, if you're chaotic, the DM has full right to be like, I don't think you would be so level-headed in this situation, you know what I mean? I think you would lose your temper right now, or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
but that's hard, because then now you have the DM who's trying to project something onto you. You have to play a certain way, and unless you're legitimately chaotic, you cannot play something chaotic well. You know, like, there's always going to be a motive behind it. If you're legitimately chaotic, you will not be able to understand D&D, you know? Like,
yeah, but I think you can play a character without being like I can play a psychopath without being a psychopath.
I don't know.
That's what acting is.
Yeah, that is what acting is, but it's like you have to have a motive. You're not just being crazy because you're crazy, and that's what someone who's truly crazy is.
Like a chaotic person.
Yeah. I think there's problems with that. Like I'd like to see someone who plays it well. I can't imagine it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Study psychology. He doesn't understand the chaotic spectrum of the fucking D&D chart.
I mean, my first ever character was a chaotic sorcerer, and I thought I played it pretty well.
Yeah.
Like it was entertaining, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
His motives were his own. His backstory was he was a child. He's a sorcerer. So the difference between a wizard and a wizard studies their whole life to cast magic. A sorcerer is born with these abilities.
Okay.
So a sorcerer doesn't need to remember words. They just rest long enough, and the words come back to them. So a wizard can study any spell at the beginning of a day and learns it.
Okay.
A sorcerer relearns the same spells each day.
Okay.
As they level up, they can learn new spells, but they won't be able to change those spells out for whatever spell they think they might need that day.
Okay. Is
So
that like elemental shit?
it's basically just like he's in tune with the weave. So in tune with the weave that the spells just come to him, kind of thing.
Cool.
And he was born in a village. He had his whole family had been sorcerers for the longest time. They were very powerful sorcerers. And just as when he was a child, his father, we basically owned an estate, and the peasant mob overthrew his father because they didn't like the lord that was a sorcerer, blah, blah, blah. And they took the child and basically locked him up in a tower for 80 years, and they hired a professional wizard to come by and seal it magically so he aged slower. But he was just alone for 80 years, and then the tower one tower wall crumbled one day, and he managed to get free. So he's just been in complete solitude for 80 years, and now all of a sudden he's out in the world. So I played it just when I would meet new people, I would never know socially what to say. So anytime we were in a social situation, I would always play it I say the wrong thing, or I just turn around and walk away when the guy's mid-sentence, because I don't pick up on the cue that's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, but this, I mean...
Okay. That gives a little more context.
Yeah.
I could see it in that way, but you still always have to have an angle. You're not truly chaotic.
No, yeah, your angle is to be chaotic. Your angle is to do sometimes do the opposite of what your instinct says. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There were times where it gets you in trouble more than it helps.
Yeah. So I think that it's chaotic in comparison to you as a person, but I don't think it's chaotic in the sense that you're rolling the dice every time you do something and being every time I walk to the town with my compatriots or comrades, whatever you call these people, I might kill them. That's really chaotic, for you were a socially awkward sorcerer. Is that chaotic? I don't know. I think that you just don't have the social skills.
This alignment table is only in reference to your motives.
Okay.
So what you want, my guy was flight of fancy.
Okay.
He never knew what he wanted beyond 2 days.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
he would often just walk around naked. He would get food and
just like the real Ethan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He'd get food and water, and then he'd be pretty good. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And he went along with these people because he made a connection with 2 other people. And this is the only time since he's been out of his imprisonment for the last 80 years that he's actually had any sort of connection with people.
Okay.
So he's going to stick with them, but then even at that same time, he doesn't understand their motives behind pretty much anything.
Okay.
Because he's kind of off kilter.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, it is hard to play. You can do it. Yeah, I had a hard time with just the word chaotic.
No,
I
that's
guess.
fair.
Yeah.
So to bring it back, we were talking about that because we were talking about the gods.
Yeah.
So certain gods will be, you'll have a lawful good god. This is the pinnacle of godhood.
It's like Jesus, right?
Yeah, a shining example
Yeah.
of grace and beauty. Very brippy. And if you're a paladin, you can be within 1 step, it's called. So if you have a lawful good god, you can either be lawful neutral or neutral good. And you're fine. Because your god's still I respect what you do. But if you ever do something evil as a paladin, you lose all ability to cast spells. Because the next time you pray, your god...
Can you get it back?
You can. You have to atone for your sins, basically.
Cool.
Because your god says...
You get indicted, basically.
Yeah, your god says, you've gone against my will, you're no longer a chosen child of mine. When you pray, I'm not going to answer.
Gods are so fucking petty, man.
Yeah, I mean, you can become an anti-paladin, too, which is basically you find an evil god and say, I now swear myself to you. But that works both ways. So now
Cool.
if you ever do good as an anti-paladin, your evil god's going to say, no, what are you doing?
Okay.
Stop feeding those children. Kill them.
Yeah.
You know?
Eat those children.
Eat those children.
Don't give them food. You eat them.
Yeah, eat them now. They are food. You don't give them
They are food.
Yeah, you don't feed food. Which is, I mean, not true in a lot of cases, but...
Oh, we do have to feed our food because we need it to fatten up
Yeah, exactly.
and eat it.
Exactly. Because carrots need food, too.
Carrots do. They need dirt.
That's why in my carrot patch, I kill a lot of cows. Because the blood seeps down, really richens up the carrots, you know what I mean?
You get nice Holstein carrots.
Yeah,
They're all,
exactly.
they're all white and black.
White and black, yeah. They produce milk. It's very weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird thing to boil, but it doesn't matter. Just scream for a second.
No, it's just air escaping.
Yeah, out of the crabs. We're
We're talking about
gods.
Mistral, the goddess of magic.
That's it.
So Shar, the dark goddess, she remains powerful. Despite her magic getting punched out, she didn't lose nearly as much, and she already had the upper hand.
She already had the high ground.
Yeah, so she's basically the explanation of why. That's basically the explanation of why 98% of the universe is, or 99% of the universe is empty space.
Okay.
Because she's that darkness just sitting out there, just waiting for an opportunity kind of thing.
She's the void.
Saloon waxes and wanes because she's the sun orbiting the planet.
Sun orbiting the planet. Come on, Galileo. Fucking slow down here, buddy.
Whoa. Take a step back. So the Earth is flat. How does the sun orbit a flat plane?
Yeah, come on. If we're rocketing upwards and the sun's going around us, is it also fucking rocking upwards?
None of this makes any sense.
Come on, man. NASA.
So around the same time...
Explain that.
Around the same time, but initially unnoticed by the gods, beings known as the primordials begin to appear. So this is primordial fire, primordial lightning. Basically beings that just, like these goddesses created a planet and the need for a god arose, and the goddess did. In the plane of fire, in the plane of vacuum, in the plane of air, in all these planes, primordial beings, like need arises, and these beings just kind of coalesce to form.
Are they like golems?
They're like Titans,
or like
Greek mythology.
Oh, they're like the Titans from the Hercules.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Hey, we got
what
to talk about Hercules 2 weeks in a row. I love that movie.
Not to be confused with, there are beings called Titans, which are more, which are like tall giants, which look like tall giants, basically. So, I mean, I guess more the god of war Titans.
What does primordial really mean?
Like raw.
Is it raw, like first coming, like
primordial soup?
Yeah,
it was like when Earth was just like a boiling ocean of chemicals.
Bacteria,
like amino acids
Yeah.
coalesce into cellular life.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean pure. It almost means unrefined.
I would say it
Well, it's
does,
very much unrefined.
It's unrefined.
It's raw. It's crunchy.
Beginning. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Crunch at me.
Yeah, crunch at me. Primordial at me.
Where did that come from?
One
Like,
of our episodes.
Yeah.
What, crunch at me?
yeah, I thought that was a real thing, like for a while.
No,
because you
it
guys
was one of our
posted-
episodes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which,
there's
one of
there's
us said crunch at me. And
Yeah,
it
I
just
think it was
ran.
you.
It might have been. I think I've said it the most out of all of us. I'm not sure if I said it first, but I definitely said it
I've
the
heard
most.
both of you say it so often that I was positive it had some sort of reference outside of this, but no, just us.
It's a I think it might just be a Lore Boys branded thing
Okay,
that
that's
we've been in
Yeah.
that we've been in for so long
Yeah.
for 19
You should start
fucking
a
weeks.
cereal or something.
Yeah.
You know, like-
Lore Boys cereal. I'll do the art for the box.
Yeah, you'd have to, yeah.
It's gonna be great.
At least you only have to do it once this time.
Yeah, just send me the dimensions once, please.
Yeah.
Post.
Yeah.
What's
I'll
the
be
fucking
the-
iTunes where it's just like
Right.
redo the picture till it works.
Yeah, yeah,
just like
that's it.
that's
Well, we have the
hated
regular
that.
size box, we have the family size box, and then you got the little travel boxes of cereal. So you got to do at least three different.
Yeah,
dimensions.
where you get 2 boxes of Frosted Flakes, 2 boxes
Exactly.
of Fruit Loops, then 2 boxes of Lore Boys Crunch.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I thought you were still talking about iTunes photos. Like, how does that work? Family size?
the
Yeah. No,
family size. Welcome to the Lore Boys Family Size Podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast for the whole family.
Yeah, fuck that. The just to go like a little behind the scenes thing here, which I will develop. I'll elaborate on behind the scenes later.
Yeah.
Stay tuned to the end of the podcast. Feel some dirty little
Some good
secrets.
teasers.
Getting the fucking iPhone picture to fit
Yeah.
was one of the most frustrating things
I
I've
bet,
ever
dude.
done. Because every time I would check, okay, it was just like these dimensions. Make sure it's these dimensions. I would give those dimensions, and it wouldn't fucking fit.
Yeah.
I was going insane.
Yeah.
And then finally one day, I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna do 1400 by 1400.
Which is what
I'm
they
gonna
say.
do random garbage by 1400.
Yeah.
Fucking perfect.
Fits, yeah.
I was just like, ah,
Yeah.
I hate you so much.
My struggles is on the editing side. Ethan always says horribly offensive things.
Yeah, it's almost every second word.
Yeah, so I end up, whenever I edit an episode, it takes about 8 hours per actual hour.
Yeah.
Because I need to cut out so
cutting
many racist,
cutting all the
sexist,
racist,
all,
sexist-
all of those things.
Yeah, all the worst things that you can imagine. Jingoist, speciest,
communist.
xenophobic,
Yeah.
communist, socialist,
Yeah.
the fucking Reds, dude.
Yeah.
I tell you. So a god, Tharizdun, comes to Aber Toril. That's the name of the planet. That
Aber Toril.
Aber Toril. It's hyphenated. The etymology of this name comes from there was 2 different people who made D&D settings, and when they merged their companies, they decided to merge their 2 worlds as well.
Okay.
Peter, you have a question. You don't have to raise your hand. But
I have to raise my hand in here because we are polite on this podcast at all times. We are 3 refined gentlemen.
Yeah.
Not primordial.
No, exactly. We're not the primordial nice guy. We're true nice guy, chaotic nice guy.
Yeah.
So the video games, Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights, those are Forgotten Realms games,
Yes.
right? So they are. This is all the same setting that I'm already
Same setting.
associated with.
Way in the future though. Like
Which is fine.
I won't get to those today.
That's okay.
Yeah, there's no way I get to that era today.
That's okay.
But,
yeah, we could do maybe more D&D
Same
episodes.
settings. That's why I picked the Forgotten Realms settings, because those games, the like I said, the R.E. Salvatore books and a bunch of other books are all in these all in the Forgotten Realms settings.
I just wanted to know, like, if this was gonna all lead up to the creation of like whatever planet I was playing fucking Neverwinter
Yeah,
Nights
it will.
on.
It will be that planet. It'll be Toriel in the end. It will no longer be Obeir Toriel.
It could be fun on a Friday night for us three just to get together and like play a small bit of D&D too and just record it, see what happens.
We could do a one shot, no problem.
Yeah,
Yeah, we could do a one shot on
Yeah.
On the Little Boys Twitch channel, which has hitherto been unused.
Yeah,
exactly.
which will be used soon.
Yeah.
I plan on playing through the original Fallout because it's the 20-year anniversary.
Yeah, they were giving it away for
Yeah.
free, but I already got a free copy for some reason on GOG.
Yeah.
Eons ago.
Feel like my PlayStation is running 4 hours a day where I'm playing it. So I should just connect the Twitch and just make it happen.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Even
Well, I
if-
send you the password.
Yeah, I just gotta do it.
It's
But Dungeons and Dragons.
It's password 123.
Yeah. LoreVoicePodcast@gmail.com, and that is password 123 exactly. Just please hijack our Twitch.
Yeah.
Do something fucked up with it.
Yeah.
So this god, Therisdun, comes to Obeir Toriel from another plane of existence.
Okay. Which one?
I don't have it noted down, but it's really not relevant.
Good enough.
So he comes to this plane, and he finds what can only be described as a shard of pure evil. So he's kind of just like wandering around the universe, not minding his own business, and he finds this little crystal. And he's like, let's check out this crystal. As soon as he grabs it, his mind and spirit are open to a race of demons. One of I think the oldest known race of demons. They're called Oberiths, and he basically his soul becomes connected with all these Oberiths, and they're trapped in a plane of like undying, unfathomable darkness.
Cool.
And they've just been trapped there for eternity.
Kind of like some Cthulhu bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. So as soon as he touches it, he's like very quickly driven to madness, and he's just like he loses his mind basically. So the demons demand of him that he plant the seed of evil within the astral sea, which is where the gods call home. They promise him total dominion over the astral sea and all its inhabitants. So they say like, you'll be god among gods, you'll be king, as if you do this one thing for us. The astral sea, or the astral...
It's like that meme where it's that like creepy thing up against the window. It's like, trust me, man.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So the astral sea is actually a pretty cool place. All the other planes are infinitely large, except for the astral plane, which is infinitesimally small.
Okay.
The significance of that is that there's no time in the astral plane. You can literally exist there forever and never age. But when you travel to another realm, there's a chance that time catches up with you. It's all very...
That's interesting. In real world space and time, if you were small enough, would time go slower? Because
time does go slower for smaller
because you have
creatures.
less
If you're small or if
impact
you're
on
fast,
space.
are you? What is that?
Well, because like time is based on space, right? So like the more... Oh fuck, I'm gonna fucking sound stupid if I keep going.
Can we start talking about theoretical physics?
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah.
Maybe we sound like a bunch of jackoffs who don't know what they're talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
But I'm willing to take that risk, damn it.
I'll put that risk on the internet, dog.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Anyways, my impulse from watching TED Talks is
From the odd TED Talk I've watched.
if you are small enough, time goes slower.
Yeah, if the smaller creatures experience time slower. That's why for like hummingbirds, it looks like we're moving in slow motion.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
What?
That's why fly. That's one of the reasons why flies have such good reaction time.
Yeah.
Flies see and process images that they see like 250 times faster than the human eye can, or the human brain can.
How did they figure that out?
Reaction times.
They asked.
Yeah,
to
it's
fly.
a reaction.
Yeah, pretty.
It has to fly.
Yeah.
Hey, fly. What do you think?
My old Greek grandmother was just like, "Why are you so fast?" And he turned around. He was just like, "I can see you in slow motion."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, grandmother, I can process 250 times faster.
Well, yeah, the fly. Yeah, he uses her first name. Well, Irene.
Yeah.
So
That is a good grandmother name.
Well, that's the real one.
yeah.
mine was Therese. One of the most interesting features of the astral plane is what are called God Isles. So this is the realm of the gods. This is where they live, where most of them come from, and where pretty much all of them go once they attain deism.
Okay.
But there are other races which live in there, notably the Githyanki, which is a race of like the goblin-like. They basically look like really tall goblins, like really tall, lanky goblins, and they come from the Astral Sea. They live on floating isles of dead gods.
Cool.
So when gods die, they petrify and they basically float on this Astral Sea. And these Githyanki, like their capital city, which is called Tunarath, is built on the petrified corpse of a dead god known only as the One in the Void.
Fantasy's cool.
Isn't that
sometimes,
fucking metal?
man.
Yeah, that's fucking sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. So could you imagine you just go to this place and there's just these floating islands and they're just the bodies of dead gods?
These like bloated giant beings that you're
yeah.
setting up a family on top of.
Yeah. So it's here that the Oberis want Tharizdun to plant the seed of evil. Even though he's going crazy, he's like, this is not a good idea. All the gods are going to turn against me. Like, I'll never even get close. So what he does instead, he travels to the farthest reaches of the cosmos to plant the seeds in a primordial expanse of the churning elemental chaos, which is the realm of the fallen immortals. This is the Astral Sea is to gods as the elemental chaos is to primordials.
Okay.
So this is their realm, and he decides to go and plant it there because primordials don't think the way he thinks. They'll never see him coming. You know what I mean? So
Gotcha, bitch.
this seed.
Stab with a sharpened turkey bone.
Yeah. So he does plant this seed, and this eventually becomes the realm known as the Abyss. So, like I said, the Underdark borders Hell. There's Hell, which is home to devils, and then there's the Abyss, which is home to demons.
Cool.
And the Abyss lives on the edge of elemental chaos, where he planted this seed of pure evil given to him by the Oberis.
How many times have we covered something featuring the Abyss or the Void? I feel like
I mean, to be fair,
5 or 6.
this is some 1970s shit right here.
I was gonna say, that was leading into my following thought, where I think most people just stole a bunch of shit from D&D.
Yeah, they stole a fair amount of shit from Tolkien though. So
Yeah.
Most RPGs where there's any type of turn-based combat just is D&D made into a computer game.
Yeah, Dragon Age.
Yeah.
For that matter, yeah.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Ooh, don't say that about Final Fantasy. We're gonna get the weebs after us, man.
I don't know, man. Like Final Fantasy, right? It's like it's turn-based combat. You have a set of moves.
different
There's
classes.
you don't always critical hit. You sometimes critical hit depending on your role. And they just got the random number generators to replace the dice and
Absolutely.
RN Jesus, yeah.
All games are stupid. So
The point of this podcast is to get you to stop playing video games. We're explaining how dumb everything is.
We're getting to 100 episodes. You're like, what games are stupid, and we've done it, and this is it.
We stopped video games, guys.
We stopped video games.
Finally.
You're welcome, Moms Against Video Games, the Facebook group. Which I don't know if that's a thing, but I'm sure that's a
If
thing.
it's not,
Mav goes out there.
if it's not, Mav-G.
Mav-G, yeah.
It's like a really thug old lady is Mav-G.
Yeah.
If we don't have, or if we are going to make a second page, we should probably make our own kind
Mothers
of
Against Video Games.
sock puppet account of like Mothers Against Video
Mothers
Games.
Against Video Games.
Honestly, like I follow like a couple things on Twitter that are like mothers against marijuana and stuff, and like things like
Good for a kick, eh?
yeah, it's really funny.
I follow a couple of good Twitter that No Context Louis is Louis Theroux, who's a documentarian.
Oh yeah, I know.
And he did most hated family in America.
Yeah.
He lived with like the Westboro Baptist Church
Yeah.
for multiple weeks, twice. Two of the most remarkable documentaries
His
I've
most,
ever seen.
I don't know if it's the most recent one, but he did one about Scientology, like
Yes,
2-3 years ago.
I did My Scientology movie.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's called My Scientology Movie, and it's
was
on
going
Netflix
there.
now. I
Okay.
didn't finish it, but yeah, it's that guy.
Yeah.
And No Context Louis is a Twitter account that takes one sentence he says with subtitles and then just posts it on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
And it's the funniest fucking thing.
No context quotes is my favorite.
Oh
As
my
Jamie can
God.
attest, it's my favorite thing of all time.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
Just taking quotes out of context is it makes me laugh every time.
Yeah.
Ethan has posted things I've said that he's said. Like a lot of his Facebook posts are out of context posts. I think that's really fun to in conversation just to dial back for a second and be like, wait, he only just took that. Right?
Yeah.
When you catch it when it happens.
That's it.
Great.
Yeah. Love
So
it.
Ethan, Dungeons and Dragons, we got gods. We got
It's long and hard and it makes me feel good.
All right.
Yeah.
Out of context quote for you.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Dark Souls.
Yeah. So Tharizdun gets a bunch of power from because the primordials that he corrupts basically say like, okay, yeah, we'll come work for you or whatever.
Yeah.
So he does get a bunch of power, and he gets a bunch of extra magic power from that. So all the gods and goddesses who were warring at the time, because they do their thing. Good doesn't like dark, war doesn't like peace, etc., etc. So
So predictable.
yeah, peace doesn't like war so much that he goes to war with war. You know what I mean? So they put aside all their differences.
That's another good out of context. I couldn't follow it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they decide to put aside their differences, leading to a war between the gods and the primordials, known as the Dawn War. They eventually, the gods and goddesses eventually imprison Tharizdun, like the figurehead, the leader of the primordial army. This isn't the end of the war by any stretch of the imagination. It's one of the early things to happen. But they do manage to imprison Tharizdun. So there's a power vacuum, and now a demon steps into place, ruling these primordials, which is kind of what gave the Abyss which made the Abyss the home of the demons, is because now like this demon steps in and controls their realm and says, let's bring a bunch of demons in here, and this will be like our base of operations kind of thing.
Weirdly enough, sorry to go off on a little tangent here. D&D, because I remember like Hidetaka Miyazaki, the director for Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Like the reason the story is weird is because he read Lord of the Rings in English without speaking
English,
so he didn't
English,
really like understand what was going on, which is why everything's so vague and weird. Which I love as a behind the scenes look at Dark Souls. Is one of the most fascinating creation stories of a video game is just like, I read books, didn't know the language, then created video games based on my interpretation of a foreign language. I'm like, oh my god. Oh, I love it.
Which when you play the game, it makes so much sense.
It's so much like it, but it's just like this fascinating creation made entirely of like cross-cultural shit, right? But also D&D, Dark Souls takes a lot from D&D.
It's like you said, a lot of things do.
Yeah.
This permeates our culture in like so many ways.
But I didn't know enough about D&D to like
all fantasy,
see Dark Souls.
All modern fantasy derives from D&D, and D&D derives from Tolkien.
Think of any 80s game developer and what they're doing on their free time, right? Like it's gotta be like
and especially because like
Super Mario Ventures into the Abyss.
Yeah, exactly. My favorite Super Mario game. No, but D&D obviously derives from Tolkien, but even like the modern retelling, like the movies, the Lord of the Rings movies, those would have been heavily influenced by D&D as well, because there's no way that Peter Jackson grew up not playing D&D and said like, I really, really, really want to make the Lord of the Rings movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Like it's so in our culture at this point that there's no way there wasn't like an echo effect where it's like this was inspired by Tolkien and now modern Tolkien's inspired by this. To an extent, obviously.
Yeah, man. I've played Civilization. I know culture bounces all over the place.
Oh yeah, man.
Culture is just one big echo chamber. Am I right?
If Civ 5 taught me anything, it's the fact that nukes were invented in Argentina in 1165.
And Gandhi was very liberal with
Gandhi loves nukes. Do you guys know why the Gandhi nuke meme
I do know why.
happens? Yeah. So it's a do you?
No.
Okay, so for anybody not listening, and also James here.
Yeah.
I was gonna call you Jimmy, and then just like
no, I felt you coming up with a nickname, and I was like, no, my name's James.
Better not call me something other than James.
You fucking bastard. Because the AI leaders in Civ have like a number basically assigned to their aggressiveness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gandhi's aggressive number in Civ was set to 0.
Yeah.
So if you did one good thing for him, it would go below 0. The game would shit its pants and roll him over to like 999 aggression.
No, it's 255.
255. Well, whatever the fucking number is.
Older bit rates, you can go from 0 to 255.
So you couldn't have negative aggression.
So cool.
Gandhi at 0, you do a good thing for him, and the game would just like, well, okay, and then that's why Gandhi is like so nuke happy
in the modern Civ games, because in the first one there was a bug where if you did anything good for him, he would instantly go to war with every single person in the game.
Yeah, with atomic
and
weapons.
If he had any nukes, they were all getting launched like the next turn. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a bug in the first game, and the developers loved it. It became a meme for them, and they've kept it in every game since.
It's so fucking funny.
Gandhi in India is super peaceful the entire game until they get nukes. As soon as they get nukes, they go to war with pretty much everyone.
Wow.
I have this great photo of Gandhi. It's like semi-transparent with a fiery mushroom cloud in the background. It's got the quote from Conan. It's just
oh yeah.
You must destroy your enemies. Yeah. See them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of the women. It's like a picture of Gandhi smiling with the mushroom cloud in the background. I fucking love it.
In Civ 3, I'm pretty sure you can stack your entire army onto one square, and basically like someone would come to fight you and be like, oh, like they only got one guy, whatever, and then they go to fight you, and your entire army's on this
Yeah.
one place,
Yeah.
so and you just completely roll them, and that was a problem. That they
But
fixed
my
that.
buddy Alexis, who we do need to have on as a guest at some point, it just like always sends me fucking Civ texts.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like there's like 2 different countries that like have never interacted even at this point in 2017.
Yeah.
And it's always like, yeah, man, you remember when Denmark went to war with Brazil in 1170 using fighter jets, and the Dutch had fighter jets, and then the Brazilians were still using like sticks
Canoes,
and stones,
yeah.
you know, just like in the history books.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly like in the history books.
Well, I mean, the Sid Meier's Civilization series is where I learned all my geographic history. So
Yeah.
That's it.
So that sounds right to me.
It's an educational game.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, you
Gandhi was the most bloodthirsty man in history.
Yeah,
That's it,
it absolutely
yeah.
was. Yeah.
can't start mining until you do animal husbandry or some shit like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably, yeah. Cows gotta fuck. Cows gotta fuck before a pickaxe works. Pickaxe
Yeah,
works.
come
That's
on,
all
man.
I know. That's
Yeah.
all. If I know one thing, that's it.
Yeah.
Cows gotta fuck before a pickaxe will work.
Put that
That's
on
how
a
you
piece
temper
of-
metal to make it hard
Yeah,
enough to like
exactly. Yeah.
the heat of cow love.
Where does the heat come from?
Yeah,
that's
right.
It's because I get so hot watching it. That's the key.
You gotta follow the same rhythm as the bull.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you're,
exactly.
like hammering it out.
This is utterly off topic. We're
Whoa. Okay, so
I'm happy to keep that meme alive.
so Tharizdun is in prison. Somebody's taken his place. The war wages on. New gods are birthed as different needs arise in the universe.
I think that's a really cool thing that like the need of like
Yeah.
a representative kind of manifests its own god. I think is really neat.
It's like Steve
the
Aoki-
universe itself kind of is its own being in that
Yeah.
instance, right? Where it creates a god to fill some kind of role.
Yeah.
Is that that's my own?
Yeah,
that's my
Steven
own.
Erickson, fantasy writer that Ethan and I both read, is the concept for gods is they're only as powerful as many followers as they have. Right?
Yeah.
Followers. It's like if a god completely loses all its followers, it goes down into the bottom of the ocean, and its name may be remembered by one guy, but it might be forgotten forever.
Yeah.
And they die when all their followers die off.
that is
Yeah.
in D&D as well.
Oh,
Okay.
it's like fairies in Peter Pan.
Yeah.
You die if you don't believe in them. Yeah.
Also the idea from Steven Erickson that when a god is in the mortal realm, he's very vulnerable.
Yeah.
The same in Dungeons and Dragons, and there's a great era called the Time of Trouble. Yeah, the Time of Troubles, where Steve Aoki banishes.
getting in trouble.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Taylor Swift.
Steve Aoki banishes all the gods to walk the mortal realm, and a bunch of just crazy shit happens. But
Oh, wow.
maybe we'll get there today if we can get through this.
Hey, D&D's got a lot of history. I'm sorry.
No, it does, yeah. I'm having fun. I'm having fun.
small elbow and shut the fuck up.
I'm having fun. I'm
Yeah,
having fun. I'm
exactly.
sorry.
I'll just sit here in silence.
It was too perfect, but I wish. Yeah. Sorry, Tharizdun gets in prison. The war rages. Gods are born as the need arises, like you said, Peter.
Cool.
And some of them fall, but their names are lost to the eons. Not all of them, though. There's the dragon god Io, so god of the dragons, basically. In his arrogance, he faces a primordial called Eric Hus, the king of terror.
Cool.
Kind of like Diablo, the lord of terror. And the dragon god is killed when the primordial cuts him in half with an adamantine axe. And from his two halves, Tiamat and Bahamut are
Oh, I
born.
was gonna say Bahamut is a dragon that I know. Yeah.
Bahamut is very famous from the Final Fantasy series.
Yeah. And it's a big ass dragon.
Yeah, and Tiamat, I mean, like
It's also in the Final Fantasy series, I think.
also maybe in the Final Fantasy series, I'm
It's
not
in
familiar
Diablo.
with it, but it's Tathamet in Diablo, and we had this discussion how
Yeah.
Tiamat and Tathamet are both from Norse mythology, I think, or something like that. Very, very pervasive figures.
Yeah.
Since they're two halves, do they have a thing? Like,
Basically, one is Bahamut.
well, like there's two. It's like one thing got cut into two halves, so assumably like one's the good, one's the evil,
Okay.
or
You
or
nailed
one
it.
like
You nailed it, homie.
Yeah.
Tiamat is of the multicolored dragons, so red dragons, green dragons,
Brass
blue
dragons.
dragons, not brass dragons.
No?
She's the lord of them, and they're typically viewed as evil. Bahamut is the lord of the shiny dragons, so silver dragons, gold dragons, bronze dragons.
Yeah,
Right,
the
yes.
Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards you wanted to open.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Tiamat's evil, Bahamut is bad. Tiamat manifests as like an infinitely headed dragon in a lot of cases, and she can kind of absorb other dragons.
Cool.
So they.
I think I've seen figurines of that.
Yeah, so they get.
It's got it's like a hydra with a bunch of heads, and each head is a different color that kind of blends into the neck.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
that's probably Tiamat then.
Cool.
Yeah. If
Awesome.
they're a different color, then it's probably Tiamat. That's to represent the aspects that she has.
Yeah, well, blue
all
dragon,
different
red
aspects.
dragon, they all have like ice fire powers and shit.
I think most commonly she's 7-headed, but she
Okay.
can take the form of like a 3-headed dragon, or like she can like divest some of her power and be like, my 3-headed dragon's gonna go deal with this, and my 4-headed dragon's gonna deal with this kind of thing. So as soon as they split apart, they defeat the primordial Ericus, and then they begin a fight against each other because they decide that they don't like each other, even though they're from the same neighborhood. So Eons pass. What was known as this was known as the Blue Age. This turns to the Shadow Epoch as a primordial devours the sun above Obir Turil.
cool.
Sorry, what does epoch mean 100%? I've heard it so many times, but I can't.
Period of time.
It's a very long period.
Yeah,
of time.
very long period.
Yeah,
Yeah. So the sun would eventually be reborn.
it's like an era, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the dictionary in my mind, in my lexicon, it's indistinguishable from era. Era and epoch to me are like the same. I'm sure there's some minor difference between the two, but I don't know what it is.
I was thinking of geological time periods on Earth, and I was thinking like the Cretaceous period, the Jurassic,
Those are epochs.
Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous periods were the 3 sections of the Mesozoic era where the dominant species on Earth was dinosaurs.
So Peter, Ethan, what's the difference between a lunch and a luncheon?
A luncheon is more formal. No?
I was going to say exactly that. Yep, that's it.
You two are correct.
Lobo's Diction. Here we go.
Hey, we all work downtown, man.
Yeah, I attend many luncheons at my video game testing job.
Yeah, I attend a few actually.
Why do
I
you-
went to a luncheon. They had Doritos, Mountain Dew.
Yeah, that's it. No Mountain Dew, but Mountain Dew Code Red.
Yeah, exactly.
Only the finest Mountain Dew for my distinguished palate.
It's how we knew that how exciting the meeting would be. I did go to a town hall recently with my CEO, and he is so charming,
Like the town hall of our local town,
unbelievable. For my company,
but the town hall of our local town.
exactly. Yeah, a very charming man. I can definitely see how he managed to sell our product to people and like become
Yeah,
like a wealthy CEO.
It's all about being-
Dude, he's so fucking nice.
it's all about charisma, baby.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
So
Gandhi.
the sun will eventually be
Gandhi, the most charismatic warlord on Earth.
nuke mongering warlord. Yeah, the sun will eventually be reborn, but like while this is happening, life has been evolving on Aber Toril.
Okay.
So there is life. There's basically 3 races. There's 3 distinct classes of race. There's lizardish people.
Okay.
There's amphibious-ish people.
Okay.
And there's birdish people, avian people. So like the races that we have right now are like the Neanderthals are to people as these races are to future races. So in D&D there are you can play lizard men.
Yeah, I know
You
that.
can play Slotty, which are like toad people. You can play Arakoa, which are like bird people.
Cool.
These are all playable classes in Dungeons and
The
Dragons.
slowed are a race in the Elder Scrolls as well. They're big, chunky frog men.
Oh yeah, there you go. So
Love me a good chunky frogman.
No, man.
yeah. So life, maybe emulating the gods, I don't know, is at war on Earth. There's empires rising. There's empires falling.
Naturally.
But particularly,
Wait a second. Sorry. Quick aside. Is this like the lizard men in Warhammer where they have like the fat psychic?
almost directly the exact same.
I thought so.
Warhammer, there was actually a legal battle over Warhammer, just straight up ripped off Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's
the
a
lizard men worship their like Aztec fat toad man.
Yeah.
okay,
And
got
it's like Warhammer, the tabletop game, for those who don't know, came out like in the 80s.
Really?
Only a few short years after D&D came out, and it was like all the classes were the same. You have elves, you have humans, you have orcs, you have dark elves, you have you have like all these things. So yeah, there was a legal battle over it, and I think Games Workshop, the creators of Warhammer, ended up having to pay out some amount, but it's settled basically.
The Gygax dynasty.
Yeah, exactly. So the most notable war, or the only war that we'll talk about on the planet, is between the Batraki and amphibious people, so like frog people, and the Titans. Like I said earlier, it's the largest of the giant races. So there are frost giants, there are regular giants, there are storm giants in Dungeons and Dragons, and the Titans is the biggest race. It's like you have frost giants, Titans. You have ogres, which are considered titans as well. Cyclops is considered a giant.
They kind of pulled that from real life then, like when the frogs fought the elephants.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like the
Like we
war
said, Africa's a fucked up place. Man.
yeah, War of the Frog and Pachyderm. You know?
Ribbit.
Ribbit. So
I
there's
see your political allegiances lie, Jamie.
yeah.
Frogman.
So the Batraki, these frog people, are desperate, and they decide to release some of the primordials that the gods had been imprisoning this whole time. So the war between the gods and the primordials is winding down, and then the gods are winning. They've been imprisoning most of the primordials. The Batraki decide, fuck, we're having some trouble with these titans, just like in real life when they came to the humans and they unleashed the humans in the war against the elephants.
Yeah.
So when we fought alongside the frogs against the elephants, that's
We're worth it.
yeah, life imitates art, as they always say.
Man. Oh, yeah. Well, we all remember that.
If anyone's been near a swamp or anything like that where you hear a lot of frogs croaking in the middle of the night, imagine that next to screaming humans, next to dying elephants.
Dying elephants, yeah.
Yeah,
That was-
it was.
Don't
a
you give me
bloodbath.
you give me flashbacks.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah. So they decide to release some of the primordials. So the gods are like, oh shit, what's going on? Like they're literally like putting things in a bucket, and then like on the other side of the bucket, there's like these frogs like grabbing the shit out of the bucket as they're putting it in. No, like they realize, they're like, what the fuck? One primordial, known as Asgaroth, the World Shaper, grabs a moon out of orbit, a frozen moon out of orbit, and just decides to chuck it towards the one of the continents on the planet. The event's known as the Tearfall, which we won't get into, but it's pretty interesting.
We don't have to get into it. I'm fairly certain they call it the Tearfall because like an ice moon started to melt, look like a tear, crash into the ground.
Yeah, well, it's also because a lot of different cultures around this time and a lot of different religions spring up from around this.
Okay.
Because like days before, there were other races on the planet that didn't realize there was a war going on between frogs and titans. Because obviously it's the time before the modern phone was invented, and you couldn't just call your neighbor and be like, "What's going on over there?" You know?
Nobody tweeted about it.
Yeah, so they see like all these explosions, all this stuff happening, and they see like lights in the sky, and then this star drops from the sky and lands on the fucking earth, and everyone's freaking out. So a lot of religions are obviously born from that. So this moon getting thrown at the planet is finally enough for Steve Aoki to say, "That's enough. Let's all calm down. I'm stepping in." So Steve Aoki at this point is the overdeity. He controls everything. He's just been pretty hands-on. He's been an absent father up till now.
Okay.
I can relate.
Yeah, right? As an absent father yourself.
I am also an absent father.
Yeah. That's because
I'm an absent
I don't
mother.
have a child. I'm like absent from being a father.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm an absent mother.
Because you don't have a uterus.
Because I don't have a uterus.
Yeah.
No, this all makes sense.
Oh,
And also because I Mrs. Doubtfired some kids that weren't mine, and I established a connection, then I completely left.
What does that mean as a
yeah,
verb?
Mrs. Doubt. Have you ever seen the movie Mrs. Doubtfire?
I
It's
know Robin
fucking
Williams is in it, and he's funny.
He dresses in drag.
Yeah.
And he pretends to be a nanny.
Oh, an old
But
lady.
he's their father. He's the father of the children.
Oh, that's the whole thing. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he also established himself kind of as a matriarch until they realized that, hey, you're my dad. Hey, you know what? A little bit of latex, Dad, isn't gonna fool me.
Yeah, I could fuck up a kid pretty bad.
Yeah.
It would have, yeah. Robin Williams was a bad man.
No, what's worse is that
In the movie Mrs. Doubtfire, let me finish.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember watching that movie on VHS like 9 or 10 times. When
Yeah,
I
me
was
too.
In PEI, because like this was pre-internet, and like
Yeah.
my cottage was like on the ocean, so there was like barely even fucking power.
Oh, yeah.
So we didn't get internet we didn't get dial-up until we already had high speed at home.
Yeah, there you go.
And then like fucking, I remember like the only source of entertainment for a while was we learned how to play like fucking cribbage
Yeah,
and watch
dude.
Mrs. Doubtfire on VHS.
I like cribbage, but me and my grandma always played dice whenever I went to the cottage.
Yeah.
Take 5 dice and you just roll them. It's good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into the rules of dice on our podcast because
on the
Dice lore is too deep.
Dice
on-
lore.
We don't have the time.
Dice
if
boys.
you were gonna choose an episode for Dice Lore, this is a good one.
This is a good one. Yeah, that's true. Dungeons and Dragons. There's a
You
lot
didn't
of
even
dice.
explain the dice yet.
Yeah, there's a 20-sided dice, there's a 10-sided dice, there's an 18-sided dice,
There's a 6-sided dice, which
there's
is
a 5.5-sided dice.
and there's a 4-sided dice, I believe, which is the Caltrop. This is the pyramid one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the Caltron. You have D3s in the game as well, which is you roll a D6. So you have a 3-sided
5
dice
by
that you have
2.
to make some rolls, but you roll a 6-sided dice. 1 and 2 is 1, 3 and 4 is 2, 5 and 6 is 3. And,
Okay.
And you can also have, you can roll a 2-sided dice, but it's literally, you can roll any dice, and odds is 1, evens is 2.
If you've listened this far, you probably have a vested interest in Dungeons and Dragons.
I hope not. I hope people are listening.
Well, everyone listens. Everyone listens, but like,
That's what I mean.
like a D20, that's the one you go to most of the time.
A 20-sided die. Yeah, for most of your skill checks, you're like, I want to look around the room. You're going to roll a d20, and if there's something hidden in the room, you have to roll above a 15 to find it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It just kind of changes the story like that. It works really well with traps, because you're like, I want to check for traps. And then
Yeah.
you roll a 4, and you're like, you don't see anything. And then as a player character, you're like, fuck.
Yeah, turns out that lamp
That's
was
it.
just a dude with a lampshade on his head.
That's it.
He's here to kill you.
As a player character, you're like, okay, then I want to leave the room, and the DM's like, you rolled to check traps on that door. I have a feeling your character would have gone through that door, and then you open the door and you get shot in the face with an arrow or something like that.
Sneaky.
Sneaky, but I am onto you. So Steve Aoki, the heretofore absentee father, he's like, okay, I'm gonna step
It's
in.
because Aoki's the god, right?
Yeah, Steve Aoki's the over deity,
Right.
Is what he's referred to.
Right.
He's the
Is
god,
his real
god of
name?
gods.
I'm too deep in the
Ao.
memes.
Hey, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I got pretty deep in the memes. I just
hard in
like
the paint.
there's like a little crack came through the curtain rods,
Yeah.
and I was like, I saw on the other side.
You broke the patina.
Steve Aoki.
Yeah.
Okay, so Steve Aoki.
So he basically sunders what's called the Tablets of Fate into 2.
Nice.
And he basically takes the world of Aber Tolir and makes 2 separate worlds. He makes Aber and Tolir.
Okay.
Conveniently enough.
The Dungeons and Dragons universe is just cutting everything into half and making.
Yeah.
Two things.
Alright,
Yeah.
cut it into half, make it binary. Move on.
Yeah.
Cut it into half, make it binary.
What was
Move
that
on.
king who did that with the baby?
Solomon.
That's it.
Yeah. It wasn't with a baby. It was
How
with
do
a
you
pie.
both know that? What is that?
It's a Bible thing.
It's a Bible.
Yeah, it's a Bible.
Oh yeah, I totally knew it.
Story of King Solomon.
Next episode of Lord Boys podcast, the Bible.
Yeah. No, just King Solomon cutting a baby in 2.
Yeah.
We'll tell you all the ways to cut a baby in 2. You cut it lengthwise, you cut it hot dog wise.
Who's the
Hot dog or hamburger?
Who's the protagonist for religion?
Jesus.
No, all religion.
No, he's the Mary Sue afterwards. Yeah,
Mary Sue can be the protagonist.
They stick him in
Have you
there
ever read
as,
Harry Potter?
as like a exactly they could so that he's a self-insert because everybody's just like Old Testament God's kind of wrathful and shitty. I don't know if he's really the good guy.
Yeah.
So then the Bible, so like Mr. Bible was like fine and just put a Mary Sue in with Jesus.
Yeah,
Where he's like,
exactly.
look how good he's good at
Look how
everything.
good
Everybody
he
loves
is.
him.
Yeah. That's poignant.
Sorry, I'm stuck on what you said earlier, like Harry Potter. Imagine the Bible's written by J.K. Rowling. Like
It'd probably be the exact same fucking thing.
For
Yeah.
preteens.
Is that not Saint Rowling? Isn't that the same
Saint Rowling? Yeah.
Isn't that the same one?
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean.
I'm making a joke because the Bible was written by the saints.
Oh yeah, yeah, totally.
That's why the song
I
"When the
thought-
Saints Go Marching In" it was actually about the production.
I
Of the
thought it
Bible.
was delivered by
Yeah.
by gods themselves. Like how did we get all this information?
Through
Just the
people.
same- Oh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not real.
You've just uncovered the flaw.
I didn't think it was a flaw, but now I see where you lie. Your
I lie, yeah. Where I lie.
yeah.
Have this apple, Ethan.
Ethan and James getting tricked by snakes.
So Steve Aoki splits the 2 planets, and he says the primordials you can have the one, gods you can have the other one to play with.
Yeah. Kids, listen, I'm turning this fucking car around.
Yeah, exactly.
And your mom's gonna drive one, I'm gonna drive the other when we get home. Your
Yeah.
mom's drive the van, I'll drive the fucking
That's
hatchback.
it.
Because you keep fighting with each other.
It's
sort of thing,
one
right?
dad talking to the same kid saying, I'm going to turn this car around, but the dad is Schrodinger, and depending on who's in the car, it's a different location whenever they turn
Okay.
around. So, yeah.
Okay.
Holy fuck! You guys went meta. Like I don't know where we are anymore. yeah.
I'm still talking. We've got 2 planets.
Steve Aoki
Yeah.
Steve Aoki
is fucking Schrodinger's dad,
Yeah.
and they're going on a vacation to 2 different planets.
Yeah.
You're turning the car around.
But
This is where we are right now.
But the planets don't exist when you're not looking at them. That's the point.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like we're making each other laugh, but no one else. You know, like when we go
Well, I-
meta like that.
I can't hear them.
No.
Yeah. What do I care what they think?
Yeah.
I hear them.
Yeah. I hear them all the time. They're telling me to shut you guys up.
Yeah.
So Abir would become the planet of the home of the primordials. Also, though, there are dragons. There's Dragonborn. There are dwarves. There are humans. There's Genasi. There's
Where did we come
halflings.
from? Did it just we rose out of life, basically?
Yeah, I think humans actually came from another plane of existence, but we won't touch on that today.
Okay.
There will be humans.
This is more of a creation story.
Yeah, exactly.
Podcast.
Yeah, there's not
Yeah.
humans on the planet yet. There will be eventually.
Okay, cool.
So when humans come from another plane, some of them end up on that planet. Some of them end up on Talir, which is where the majority of stories takes place. Is Talir.
Yeah.
Ibir is kind of the dark. It's not the dark world. It's not like evil or anything like that. But like the sun manifests as blue, so they get like blue, silvery light.
Eels never
And,
gets
like-
to sleep like that.
Well,
I think it still
you probably
goes
would.
down.
You
Oh,
probably
it still goes down. Okay.
yeah, and
It's not the Banner
it
Saga.
Still goes down, and I mean, if your species evolves on that, in that environment on that planet, you
I can't
probably
imagine anything outside of my.
will. Your own frame of reference.
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, welcome to humanity. Speaking of religion, right? For some reason, it was notable to me to write down that there will never be elves, drow, or other fey creatures in Ibir.
Okay.
Just like this one planet where elves didn't show up, so no fey creatures. This second planet is unknown to the people on the first planet, Toril, until an event which comes later, which we probably won't get to today, which is called the Spell Plague. But I have a pretty cool Tales from Toril. So we're pretty much done with the creation myth, and now I have some like fun little stories from the D&D universe to go over.
So we got to the creation. Just quick recap. We got Steve Aoki, also known as Aeon.
Ayo.
Ao.
Right.
Ayo.
Ayo. Yeah. That's a better meme, I think.
Yeah. And he makes two little goddesses who are good and evil, cheerleader, goth girl, whichever side you
Cheerleader
want to
Goth
take.
Girl. You nailed
And
it.
then from there, they started fighting,
Yep.
and they made all of the bad things in the world.
Not necessarily. They made a bunch of other gods arose. The first gods that arose were the gods of war, disease, death, etc.
While they were fighting, yeah.
But I mean, this lasts eons, or this lasts an epoch. You know what I mean?
I was hoping. You did that. Yeah.
So other gods do arise in that time,
Yeah.
and in the other planes, there are gods who continue to arise as well, and some of them come
Okay.
to the aid of the sisters, either sister or whatever.
Okay, and then more gods, all the races.
Well, there's then one god he touches a black stone, and the black stone tells him, "Put my stone here, and you'll get the power of the gods." And he decides to put it where the primordials are from, so he gets the power of the primordials instead.
Okay.
Thus ensues a war between the primordials and the gods.
Yes.
Eventually
gods
leading
come out on top.
to the overdeity, splitting the world into two and saying like, "You play over here, you guys play over here. Be at peace."
Okay. So we can sum up the last 2 hours into 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Turn it off, go home.
Yeah, exactly.
So Talir, like I said, is the land that the planet that most of the stories take place on. So early on, this is after humans have arrived on the planet. This is a land of like untamed magic. There's no like upper cap on magic. You know how I said earlier the highest level spell that someone could learn is a ninth level
They use
spell.
it once a day.
Yeah. So like this is how that distinction came to be. This is a land of untamed magic. There's an ancient human civilization that is casting 11th level spells to make their cities. The 11th level spell is literally they cut the top off a mountain, make it levitate, and put a crystal in the middle, and it holds it levitating, so they build floating cities.
Cool.
Whoa, yeah.
And this requires like an 11th level spell. Some of the other cool ones, I was just going through the list of 11th level spells because I love this shit. But like another cool one is it's a necromantic spell where they take a pile of human bones, and when it starts to rain, they recite an incantation, light this bonfire of human bones. The spell is called Bonfire of Insanity, and the smoke basically rises up into the clouds. And from the rain, anybody that gets rained on will basically turn into a ghoul in a day. So you can just like blanket an entire area and like undead in like no
That's
time.
some crazy shit.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
That doesn't exist anymore in D&D because that's too powerful.
It's OP as
You know what I mean?
fuck,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Say, that sounds like something that would just exponentially keep happening.
Yeah.
Like the ghouls would get powerful enough eventually, and
That's
there
it.
would just be more rain, more ghouls, and then everyone's a ghoul.
That's it.
What you gonna do?
So
Jesus.
there's also Ayulam's longevity, which is you cast like an AoE spell, an area of effect spell,
Yeah.
and everybody who dies you absorb their life force, and for every single creature, your life becomes that much longer for however much time they had left.
That's cool.
So, like,
steal a bunch of youth.
Yeah, exactly. So like liches in Dungeons and Dragons are like some of the most powerful creatures. I think they're a challenge rating of 23.
In fantasy, liches are generally
one of the most powerful.
It's like an undead wizard, right?
It's like an undead. It's a wizard that is put basically his life force into a bunch of Horcruxes.
Yeah.
And just becomes like super powerful.
Yeah.
In D&D 5th edition, there's like 5 creatures which are more powerful than a lich. 4 of them are dragons, different iterations of dragons, which are obviously, and only ancient dragons. Like the older a dragon gets, the more powerful it gets.
Yeah.
And an ancient dragon refers to ones that are around, like when we were talking about like the god died and Tarask was born.
Yeah.
Like dragons that were around back then are like more powerful than a lich.
Cool. Okay.
And then there's the one creature called the Tarask, which I will actually touch on in just a few moments.
I've heard about a Tarask as well.
The only 12th level spell. No, so those were 11th level spells. The only 12th level spell known is a spell called Karsus's Longevity. Now, Karsus is the most powerful wizard to have ever lived, hands down, bar none. Okay, so he is not the one creating these floating cities. He's good friends with the one creating these floating cities, but they have their own little like mage circle or whatever. They live in a human civilization known as Netheril. These are the ones who live in their floating cities in the sky. They're at war with a race of abominations known as the Faerûn. The Faerûn are slug-like creatures. They have 4 arms. They have a barbed, venomous tail and a wide circular mouth. So they're like slugs with like an open end and like 4 arms, and the open end has like razor sharp, like rows of razor sharp teeth.
Yeah.
They're magic users.
That's a scary sounding fucking thing. Yeah.
Sounds ugly and mean.
They're magic users.
It's like me.
A cool thing about their magic is they need 4 arms. They need all 4 of their arms to cast any magic. So if you cut off one arm, they can't cast magic anymore.
Oh, really?
They're like bees. They like how magic manifests in language. They can only express their language by dancing.
Yeah.
So,
Faerûn are beasts, basically.
Ugly slugs have to jiggle their way around to shoot a lightning bolt at you.
How they communicate with other Faerûn is by changing the airspeed around their bodies.
Okay.
So they basically change the airspeed, and other Faerûn can pick up on like the different differences in pressure. So this war lasts decades, but the Faerûn are gradually gaining ground.
Okay. I just want to point out to anyone at home, Ethan has slowly degenerated from the start to the end of the cast. His hair's a little bit slicker from being warm. His shirt is wide open.
My shirt's been wide open since the day one, dude.
He's got a crotch full of beer and a ripped knee.
A ripped knee. I like a rough shape, right?
Yeah.
My shirt has been open for a while, but I just took a long, hard look at myself, and I said, fuck, dude, I do look a mess.
Yeah.
I am disheveled.
Ethan and Peter and I, it was like, Ethan, you look good today when he got in. Both of us made that comment.
You did. Well, Peter did, but...
Well, I made it
I
internally made it, but I didn't want to give you the satisfaction. So
that's fair. I deserve that.
Yeah.
I deserve that 100%.
Yeah. Well, the last few times I've been like, oh, man, that's like a nice shirt. You're like, well, it's just a shirt. So I was like, oh, this guy doesn't care. So I'm not going to tell me it's a nice shirt. He never says thank you.
It is a nice shirt. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for thinking that and not saying it.
Yeah, exactly.
So Karsus, the mage that I referred to in Karsus's Folly,
Yep.
is the most powerful archmage. He's living in Netheril, and he's growing desperate in this war against the Faerûn.
Whoa.
Despite them being a civilization that has access to magic unbridled, so are the Faerûn.
Okay.
So they're losing this war.
Odd that a race of slugmen would be the most powerful, second most powerful mages on Earth. This seems like kind of like a...
They're very evil. They're hellbent. It says the only thing that's stopping them from wanting to destroy all life is the thought that they won't have anyone to enslave and torture.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. So these are
they're in a catch-22.
These are bad slugs. You know what I mean? Bad slug.
Bad slug.
So he develops a spell called Karsus's Avatar. This will allow him to temporarily usurp the powers of a god. So he basically just like mind freaks a god and is like, I'm you now. And the god's like, I'm you Chris Angel, I don't know what's going on. So this is the spell he's developed. it's so complex. So spells in D&D, a lot of them require reagents. You have to have like a handful of silver dust to cast the spell, you know?
Okay, that sounds. I guess that's why it doesn't really translate super well to video games sometimes, because that sounds
A lot of stuff. A lot of
time consuming.
A lot of games, like when you're playing D&D with your friends, like me as a DM, I've never cared.
Yeah.
You always have the spell components you need. There's certain spells though, like if you want to resurrect someone, you need like a perfect diamond and like 10,000 gold worth of stuff. That kind of makes sense because if a character dies, you want it to be very expensive to bring them back.
Yeah,
at the very least, you know what I mean.
But yeah, that is for something like reagents. Unless you're a hardcore player who's playing like twice a week, who the fuck has time to progress the story while also collecting reagents while also doing this?
Odds are, if you're playing twice a week, your DM has set it to slow, so you're getting less gold each time anyway. So it's all about you. Like me in my games, I would never say you can't show up with 20,000 gold and resurrect a fallen person. Like, I'm going to write a story thing, and I'm going to say, this is the trial that you have to go through.
Yeah.
And I'll let you venture into hell to recover his soul. You know what I mean?
Yeah, put it back in the
something
body.
like that. Like, let's make it interesting. And while that's happening, the player who died, you can play another character while you're trying to rescue your own soul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
It is a game for
I've had
fun.
characters that died before, and my favorite thing to do is create a character that's like the complete antithesis of them and is tagging along with the party while they're trying to resurrect him. And the whole time, my character's the one complaining. Like, why are we going to resurrect this guy? I never met him. Like, so this spell, Karsus' Avatar, is so complex that it requires the stone-filled gizzard of a golden dragon, a mixture of Tarask blood, and 12-headed Hydra bile. So you guys know what a Hydra is?
Yeah.
Figure this out.
Cut off one head and more will come.
Yeah.
The Tarask is probably the most powerful creature to have ever graced the planet's anything. It was created by the Primordials as a weapon to use against the gods.
Is it stronger than a dragon?
It is much stronger than a dragon. So like I said earlier, liches are, I think, 22 or 23 challenge rating.
Yeah.
is what they're given. An ancient red dragon and an ancient gold dragon, the two most powerful dragons, are 24. A Tarask is 30.
Holy shit.
There's a six rating gap between the hardest and the 2 second most hardest, which is like insane.
They look like death claws from Fallout, right? They're like the big buff lizard things.
They actually very much do. They have like spikes all over their back. They're pretty dang badass. There was Karsus, sends a group of adventurers to collect this blood that he needs from this Tarask.
Yeah.
And it turns out it's just been like sleeping, because after the Primordials created it, they created it in the center of the earth, and they never ended up actually using it, because it's basically like a nuke. And they were like, we don't know if they did what the States did not, and they said like, maybe we shouldn't use this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they just left it sleeping in the center of the earth, and nobody knows when it's gonna wake up, kind of thing.
Cool.
So you can always like.
How do you kill it?
I don't think canonically nobody knows.
Bigger nukes.
Canonically, like this.
We need to make a bigger Tarask.
Yeah, exactly.
Canonically, this thing has never woken
Put
up.
sanctions on Iran to stop them from their wicked Tarasks up.
Yeah, so it's huge. It moves faster than you. It's like 50 feet tall and 70 feet long. It's like razor sharp teeth. It's super fast. You will never damage it, no matter how hard you try. Literally, like the gods would tremble when this thing awoke. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So it was a nuke to use against them, right? And so Karsus, getting desperate, sends a group of adventurers, assumably high level. He's like, good luck. Go find this Tarask blood. It turns out there's a tribe of barbarians known as the Engart who are charged with guarding the creature's lair. They know it's sleeping. They know it's in there. They're like, don't wake it up. That's all I can say. There's also, however, a golden dragon. So they go to kill the golden dragon, and the golden dragon is like, don't take my gizzard. Don't kill me. Find another golden dragon to kill. In exchange, I'll give you this mixture, which will let you draw blood from the Tarask without waking it.
Like a numbing thing.
Yeah,
That's a fair deal. Do it. That's fucking fair.
So they do it. They get the Tarask's blood. They eventually get the golden dragon's gizzard. They get the 12-headed Hydra bile.
You gotta kill it and cut its stomach open, I guess.
Yeah, whatever they have to do. They
Drain it out, dump it on your face.
Exactly.
Like the Gatorade at the end of a football game.
Yeah. So
Dump a bunch of Tarask blood on your on your coach.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So they get all the ingredients that they need to for Karsus to perform his ritual. Now, Karsus, he gets to choose a god to usurp. He's an archwizard.
Yeah.
He lives in a society that worships Mistral, the god of magic, because they all live in fucking floating cities. Life is easy because everyone's a fucking wizard, right? So he says, I'm going to usurp Mistral. She hasn't done enough to help us. I got this. You know what I mean? He does it. He performs the ritual, and his consciousness immediately starts to grow to the level of omniscience. Turns out when you usurp a god, they lose their powers like while you're in their body. You know, you Freaky Friday them.
Okay, yeah.
And they end up in your little body.
Thank you for speaking to me in Lindsay Lohan terms.
Yeah. Now I understand.
Everything should be represented. So Mistral, who is Jamie Lee Curtis, is usurped by Karsus, who is Lindsay Lohan.
Played by okay, yeah.
Yeah, Karsus played by Lindsay Lohan. Mistral played by Jamie Lee Curtis. So as soon as his consciousness starts to grow, Karsus realizes I fucked up. He's becoming omniscient, and he's like, there's one thing me as a malleable, foibling human didn't account for, and it's the fact that Mistral holds the entire weave, all magic, together.
Now he has to.
But he doesn't really have the capability to do that yet because he's not a full god yet.
Okay.
So these floating cities that we were talking about,
Rain from the sky.
that are floating on magic, just start raining from the sky. So also,
Oh man.
he's in the middle of a ritual spell, and all magic just stopped working. So he's petrified. The last thing on him to be petrified is his eyes, and the last thing he sees is the cities of the people that he was trying to save crashing into the earth.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, if you think of death as living your last moment forever, like forever dividing that second into half, like
It's eternity, man.
It's eternity of watching the thing that he was trying to stop happen. Oh man.
Oh, goo goo.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
What a
it's
life.
pretty tragic.
Yeah.
So Mistral, in the moments when she's like, "What the fuck's going on?" and she's cast into Karsus' body, she quickly recovers. She quickly recovers. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
it's all goddesses.
Yeah, all the magic is always goddesses. She quickly recovers, and she sacrifices herself, throws her remaining life force at the weave just to hold it in place long enough that she can hopefully get back to it.
Okay.
She will be resurrected eventually, but during the time, magic is blocked, like I said, so this is when cities start falling to the sky. Mistral is reborn as Mistra. Mistra's first priority is to make sure that this never happens again. She completely remakes the weave, which all magic is born from, and this is when she says no spell over 11th level is allowed anymore.
Oh, okay. So
Nobody's allowed to do this shit where they usurp a god anymore
that
because
makes
that's some
sense,
bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's playing Civilization, and one of her soldiers takes over the game. It's like she was playing Civilization, and like one of her advisors was like, "This is what you should do," and she's like, "No, I don't think so." And then the advisor took over the game and did that thing. She was like, "No, fuck this."
Yeah.
She recoded the entire game. She was like,
Okay.
"That's
All
never
your
happening
power outlets have to be 120 volts or whatever it is, because if we give you too much power, you'll ruin it for all of us.
You're gonna burn your
Okay.
fucking house down.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, cool.
So 3 of the cities that
She
were
puts like a binder on the weave, basically, to like keep it from allowing more powerful spells.
yeah, exactly.
Or is it just like
She puts up a
encouraged?
firewall.
Is it just like, hey, don't do it? Can someone still do
No,
it?
it's literally impossible. With the weave as she remade it, it's literally impossible to pull that much power from it. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, cool.
She lowered the voltage.
Yeah.
Or maybe she upped the voltage, so if you try and pull more, then it's just like shocks you to death. Because that's how electricity works.
That's it. Lots of bandwidth, not a lot of individual.
You gotta download Cap now, and nobody wants to go over that
Yeah,
shit.
Yeah, exactly.
In a month, 'cause this is too
exactly.
expensive.
Yeah.
You wouldn't download a god.
Yeah. So you wouldn't download a god. I mean, I would, but
I would too. Yeah.
I would download a
What
god.
would you do with it if you downloaded
I would
it?
upload my consciousness into her spot. You stupid.
Yeah.
You can't do that. But if
you're
you
right.
could just download a god today, like what would you do with it?
I'd ask him some questions.
Yep.
So 3 of the cities were managed to be saved by the now rebirth Mistra.
They were the highest ones that just had slightly more time to fall.
Literally, they
Yeah,
were.
okay.
They were the ones that like she just got there in time. The only ones that she actually had time to save were these 3.
Well, hero parents.
There was a 4th city which is it's called Thultantharm. Sorry,
Okay.
That's a bit of a mouthful, that one. Thultantharm. It was pulled into
Thultantharm.
it was pulled into the plane of shadow by 12 demonic princes.
Okay.
And this basically becomes a demonic capital
Sweet.
in the canon. So I think that's a good place to stop for now. We got plenty more to go, but we covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, well, like D&D, even if we started it yesterday and finished it next month, there's still more stuff.
I could tell. Yeah.
So, but what would be on the next D&D cast? Like, if you're gonna leave me hanging, at least tease me a bit. Show me a little Clevo right there.
Well, I mentioned it earlier. There's the Time of Troubles, which is where Steve Aoki, the overdeity, gets really sick of all the gods and their bullshit.
Yeah.
Basically, 2 of them try and steal the Tablets of Fate, which is what he created whenever he split the world into 2.
Yeah.
Try to steal that from him, so they make a grab for power. And he's like, I'm sick of you. I'm sick of these kids always fucking. They don't clean their rooms.
Nope.
They don't clean up around the house. They just make a mess. They got bad grades in their report cards. I'm sick of them. So he kicks them all out. He says, get out of heaven. All except for one god named Helm, whose duty was literally to protect the gates of heaven.
Cool.
So he's like, you can stay because I don't want other gods coming back in. Helm actually ends up killing Mistra. So magic for a time. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Dark Sun.
Nope.
It's a setting in D&D, which is basically during this age where the god of magic wasn't around.
Is dead, yeah.
Yeah, it's during this time of troubles because there's another one who... sorry, no, that's actually later on. That's during the Spell Plague. So we have this time of troubles. Mistra dies, gets replaced by a mortal avatar. There's 3 gods which get replaced by 3 mortal avatars.
They each get their own pope, basically.
Yeah, and they all knew each other in life, in their mortal lives. So when they're gods, one of them, who becomes the god of lies, deceit, and murder, he's basically the god of assassins, decides to kill the other one who ascended to the mantle of the god of magic.
Cool.
And during that time, magic is just dead for a while. And it's basically all pulled from this god assassin.
Kind of like a Dark Age.
Yeah. The mechanics are really cool in Dark Sun. It's whenever you cast the spell, the area under your feet, no spell can ever be cast in that one spot again. And the stronger spell you cast, the more area it takes up. So yeah.
So you like salt the earth below you,
yeah, exactly,
and like pull the life force out.
Because there's just this all the magic that you're pulling is just this remnant like patina of magic that's covering the earth, and every time you pull it, like that's all there is there. You know what I mean? So
all right, so where we are now, cities have just fallen from the sky. 12th level spells have been banned, and we're gonna lead into that on the next D&D episode, I guess.
Yeah, that's great.
I like that. That's a fucking great cliffhanger.
Learned a lot. Learned a lot. I know that D&D people like halves. I know that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Steve Aoki was there.
Steve Aoki was there. Little John was there going, "Hey yo!"
Yeah.
This has been one of my favorite ones to actually listen to.
Yeah.
No, this is definitely my favorite one to research. But
yeah.
I felt like I was biased. I'm glad you guys really enjoyed it.
Yes. In these types of casts, like we have to like kind of play more of a listening role than compared to, let's say, Crash Bandicoot, where you can get through everything in 15 minutes.
Don't play yourself down like that.
No, I'm not playing
we're shitting on Naughty Dog.
It's a different dynamic. Right? It's a different
Yeah.
dynamic. Crash Bandicoot opens us up to be able to talk a lot about different things, and this is something that there's so much story that we'll never get to the end of it, even if we research it.
I love D&D.
So Peter, you want to tell us about something we may or may not have planned in a couple weeks?
I do. So, as any of you may know, this is our 19th episode, and we've decided to split it up a bit. So next week, next Monday, where you're listening, and I suppose, and then the Tuesday after that, we will be releasing our season 1 finale, episode 20.
Yep.
So we will be doing a multicast for the first time.
Yep.
The 3 of us will be hosting at the same time. And we will all do one Super Mario story.
Yep, and also we will be speaking over each other the whole time.
The
we have 3
whole
separate
time.
episods that we will not even talk to each other about.
We'll do
We're
them
just gonna stack them
simultaneously.
on top
Yeah,
inside of
exactly.
here.
Look forward to it. It's the future of media.
It's an art piece, so try not to criticize it too much, because if you don't like it, it's just because you don't get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Like all our episodes, right?
Just like everything else.
Yeah.
But on YouTube, we will also be releasing some behind-the-scenes footage.
Yeah,
We're
a little
going to
bit
do a open air quotes studio tour, as well as the new place we're going to start recording, because I'm going to be putting my spare room together.
Yeah.
As the new Lore Boys setup. We'll see how that goes.
Studio tour really means Cribs episode of James Miller, who's still in student
Yeah,
debt.
exactly.
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 MTV's Cribs, Lore Boy's Gym.
Yeah.
exactly.
We did get Ja Rule. He
Yeah,
is coming.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you can see that. You'll be able to see that on YouTube. We'll definitely be putting some stuff on Facebook and Instagram. We're gonna get some of our friends to help us out, presumably, to shoot. It should be a good time. You get a little peek into Lore Boys' lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Very-
gonna be a week from today.
It's good.
When you're listening to it.
You guys can all see where I rest my weary head.
Yeah.
I'll show you my bedroom.
So James,
Only
we know
you.
where. Well, now that they'll know where they rest their weary head, where might they find you if they're
Well.
looking for you on the internet?
You
Yeah.
can find me at JAYMILLK on Twitter. And you can find me on James Miller at Facebook. On Facebook, look up just Lore Boys. Like, Lore Boys.
Lore Boys Podcast on Facebook.
Yeah, on Facebook, you can find us. It's super easy. And check out our shit posts. They're good.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get drunk and post on our fucking Facebook
Peter
page.
came in today and he's
I
like,
remember
I
that.
don't remember, but I just wrote Lore Boys Tropical with some pineapples and
Yeah.
put it out there.
I don't remember when I did that, but
So
that
everybody
was
wants-
yesterday.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see that.
Everyone
But
wants
there-
a tropical slice.
as much as there's drunk shit posts, there
Lore
are.
Boys Tropical.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also have a great discourse on there. We have a lot of interesting, cool people. So you can post on there and you can make some friends. You can have interesting conversations about video games, which we're all interested in.
Maybe you'll fall in love.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll fall in love.
Maybe you'll fall in love.
Maybe you and your husband or wife meet on the Lore Boys Facebook
Yeah.
page because you
Oh.
both love Lore Boys so
That's
much.
it.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
Oh,
You know what?
Oh man, okay, I will pay for the first Lore Boys wedding. Putting it.
Calling it
Well,
out. This
calling
is
it
not
now.
getting cut. This is
No.
not getting
Yeah.
cut. Oh man.
And,
if you meet and fall in love on our Facebook page,
Yep.
I'll take care of your wedding. Yes.
Other than the Facebook, where might people find you on ye old internet?
At Pete O'Donohue on the ye old internet. Tune in the internet to that frequency. If you want to tune in the Art Dump archive, you can check out the Lore Boys Facebook page or O'Manahue on DeviantArt, where you can also see all the old comics I did when I was young.
Yeah.
Some of which I've gone through, and I'm just like, fuck yeah. Like
Fuck
some
yeah.
of them I'm just like, what the hell was I doing?
Yeah.
I don't even understand my own jokes anymore.
Yeah.
But some of the ones that I did when I was younger are just like, you know,
Hey, yeah. You do some that are really topical. So I get 'em-
little baby Peter was on point here.
Yeah.
Well, I was doing political cartoons for
Yeah,
a
I
while,
know
so
you
yeah,
were,
like
yeah.
whatever fucking Sita with like
Yeah,
Stephen
yeah,
Harper
yeah.
hiding in the fridge doesn't make any fucking sense
Yeah.
anymore.
I
But like,
appreciate that about you because, like, I look at any of my old shit that I've tried to put together, and I'm like, oh man, what was I doing? But you can still look at yourself and be like, that was
a
good.
big chunk of my fucking old catalog is complete garbage. But
Yeah.
I think I leave it there for the all to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy. I'm still happy with some. Like some of it I put in a separate folder that I'm just like redo this.
Okay.
Like now that I can draw better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at Pete O'Donohue on Twitter, Old Aunt Peter on Instagram, O'Manahue on DeviantArt, and then I do a lot of the shit posting on the Facebook page. 'Cause not that I remember it. And Ethan.
I'm Ethan Palmer. Hi, nice to meet you. I love you. Thank
Introduction.
You. Thank you for coming.
2 hours
Let's get a drink. Let's go to dinner. Let's have a good time.
Let's do it.
You can find me at Ethan the Dead Man or at Ethan is a Dead Man on Twitter and Instagram, respectively. Make sure to follow the Lore Boys on Facebook. We're on Twitter at Lore Boys Podcast. We're on Instagram.
It's at Lore Boys on Twitter.
Oh, sorry, at Lore Boys on Twitter, at Lore Boys Podcast on Instagram. Make sure to hit up the blog. It's loreboys.wordpress.com. We're on YouTube. We're on Google. Just type Lore Boys into Google, and we'll pop
We're
up
the
several
first
times.
several results. So Libsyn is where we host our audio, and it feeds into about 1,000 different things.
Every app. Every
Yeah,
app.
the fuck
honestly, there's like podcast things that are like third party that host us.
Yeah.
And like I see them all the time.
They pull from iTunes.
Podcast Bay, exactly.
Yeah, we're in
But-
iTunes, yeah.
but we get all the downloads. So wherever you listen to us, keep
Money,
listening.
money,
Keep doing, yeah.
One day we'll
Money.
monetize,
We-
actually.
Yeah, no,
Leave
we're
us a-
still paying for this
Yeah.
thing. We're not making
Volunteers.
any money.
Leave us a review on Facebook or on iTunes. And don't forget to subscribe to Lore Boys Premium. If you subscribe to Lore Boys Premium, I do have a very extensive backlog of injured hermit crabs that need good homes.
Yeah.
Now, I know a pet should never be a gift because it's a responsibility. But we need people.
You don't look a great gift crab in the mouth.
Yeah, we need people to take in these injured hermit crabs that got injured trying to form a singularity, okay? So, a call to action. Everybody who's already subscribed to Lore Boys Premium, tough titties, you're getting a hermit crab. And you better take good care of it, or I'm coming to your house and I'm going to put you in your place.
We mailed them out 2 days ago.
Yeah,
you
they're on
got
the-
your $50 bill. You're happy about that. All of a sudden, hermit crabs.
hermit crabs.
Get used to it.
Yeah.
You know what?
Some of them haven't even been to college yet, so you guys will have to put those.
Yeah. with the lore boys with our right hand we give it, but with our left hand we take it away.
Exactly. And I think that constitutes A. Lore boys.
Out.
Out.
Sorry about that. Yeah, no, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just, it's
It
one
was
of those
just a
P-
good time to pause.
one of those P days.
I felt like taking a good 30 seconds anyway. So God, Tharizdun comes
Pause
to.
longer than that for me so I can be lazier in editing. Thank you.
My fucking watch is saying take a minute to breathe.
Oh.
Fuck.
Bitch, I'm talking!